We live here on the Nature Sports Podcast, man. Cut days have happened. Normally we go into today's Workhorse Wednesday. I mean, well, last time I was on, I said we were going to go into the to some film from the last preseason game, but nah, man, we got to go with these rosters. It's been a couple signings, it's been a couple releases, it's been a whole bunch of stuff going on. So we're gonna swing it around to the guys, let the guys introduce themselves. I'm ETA Row, and we're gonna just go from there.
I'm sure. My apologies, fellas.
Oh, all right, cool. I'm gonna go. What up? This point B. This is a 10-year vet, man. We've been deep in this game, man. I want to thank y'all for coming through. Thank y'all for tuning in, like y'all always do, live here on the Nation Network. You know this is the Workhorse Wednesday, and I am gonna be one of those people right here that's gonna be the workhorse for the team today. I know I'm gonna have to answer a lot of questions because I got some belief in the team and I got some belief in the roster.
All right. Uptown Vito, man. Shout out to the gang and the people in here watching and listening. 10-year vet, Washington Redskins, Washington football team fan for over 30 years, almost 40 years. Just here to give our analytic take. This is the Workhorse.
Workhorse.
And we here to break down the roster today, man. We here to get out my take, man.
What up? It's your boy Big Sam in the building. I'm finna kind of lost. Hopefully through these conversations I can get fam. That's all I gotta say. That's all I gotta say.
Okay. So that's so without further ado, I guess one thing we'll do is just start with who got cut, right? So let's just start with that. Even before we go with the depth chart right now, y'all see we got the depth chart up. But I think it's more easier to go with who did we cut. That way, man, that gives some context to the depth chart and how it looks right now. And even some of the potential signings that we have made, things that we have done, right? So let's pull that up. And so we can get some of those and can exactly see who did not make the roster. As far as who didn't make the roster, guys, y'all know who didn't make the roster. I know y'all took an eye on it. I'll read it out to the fans and to the people. Sam Hartman and Trace McSorley cut at quarterback. We'll do it by position. Sam Hartman and Trace McSorley cut as quarterbacks. What y'all feel about that?
Hartman was added to the practice squad.
McSorley shouldn't have been cut.
McSorley should have had the third spot.
Yeah, I feel like McSorley should have got it over Driscoll.
Why?
He outplayed him. He outplayed Driscoll and he outplayed Mariota.
So
I can say he outplayed Mariota too, but I would say Mariota had an injury, so he only had one.
Well, Mariota always getting injured. That's like somebody sneezing. That's just regular for him.
I get you, but just the way I look at it, Mariota, I can't really gauge him against Mariota. I would have to gauge what Mariota did in camp versus what McSorley did in the game. That's not really like a fair comparison. So as far as for me, I would say Trace McSorley should have been the third quarterback over Jeff Driscoll, though.
What you got, Vito? What you got, Vito, on that? Why? Why was Trace McSorley should have been over Jeff Driscoll, in your opinion?
I feel like Trace McSorley should have been over Jeff Driscoll and Sam Hartman. So, Jeff Driscoll played 3 preseason games. Was selected to the team before OTAs and training camp started, which means that either there was some familiarity within one of the coaching staff, or some confidence that Jeff could run the offense in a way that they would be able to find viable service from him as a third quarterback. Mariota was injured after playing one drive. I do see why you keep Mariota. Regardless of play, training camp, and all of that, he's a veteran. and I understand keeping him for that reason. But Sam Hartman was undrafted. Although he has promise, I don't see his position being like a team going out and getting him to put on their practice squad if you have a Trace McSorley yourself. For Trace McSorley to come in 2 games and outperform Driscoll, who had a whole OTA, and was very impressive to me. Yes, it was against lesser talent, but as Ro pointed out that game, you could just see that he's a baller. And maybe against first string, he needs some more help and things of that sort. But again, that's what you have coaches for. In this offense, though, I think he looked really good, especially if you're just running vanilla plays.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Vito. My take on it is I thought Trace McSorley had the one thing that none of them guys got except for Jaden Daniels, which was he had that gamer mentality. I think he put the game away when he got an opportunity during the game against the last game against New England Patriots. He really showed a spark off of the bench, and I think that's really what you want at backup quarterback is someone who will come in and give you instant energy. And sometimes that energy can turn into a Super Bowl. So when you got a guy like Trace McSorley who just came in, and I think he had that Heineke effect. That's what we like to call it here on the Nature Sports Podcast, the Heineke effect. I think we really saw that Heineke effect with Trace McSorley. I mean, so I that's one person I think that he should have made the team, and I do agree with the guys for the ones who said that he should have been the backup quarterback. I do agree with that. I think he would do well. And ultimately, sometimes we like to lean on people who are. I think he should have took Mariota's spot. Y'all know how I felt about Mariota, even when we signed him. I wasn't big on Mariota, and why did I say I wasn't big on him? One, because he's been injured so many times. That's not really who you want as your backup. Is a guy who gets injured. Because guess what? If your security blanket gets injured, now you really is just reeling it from the. You're reeling at that point. We saw what happened with San Francisco when they put in Trey Lance, or Trey Lance started and then the backup got hurt. Now you're in a situation where you're free falling when your backup gets hurt. Your backup's supposed to be your security blanket. You can't have a guy who gets injured like that as your security blanket because he's going to get it. Not going to. We're not wishing that, but the chances are higher he'll be injured. So
speaking of Heineke, he got traded today to the Chargers.
Okay.
Yeah, from Atlanta to the Chargers.
Okay.
Wow. So Jim Harbaugh sees something in him, huh?
Yeah, he's a good backup. Like. Yeah.
That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, he's a good backup. So shout out to Ted Heineke, but I think Trace. I'm with you guys on Trace McSorley. Let's just put it like that. I'm definitely with you guys on Trace McSorley. Let's move right along to the running back position. Okay, so Brian Robinson makes the team. Austin Eckler makes the team, and Jeremy Nichols also makes the team. Chris Rodriguez cut, Michael Wiley cut, and Austin Jones cut. What do you guys got on the running back position?
I don't like
it. Michael Wiley was put on the practice squad. That's the only reason why I like those cuts. Because at least you have him if anything happens to the backs that you have. I won't disagree with Big Son. I'll let him have his take. I won't be so debatey today. But I will say that I do think that McNichols gives you a variable as a running back. He's a tween between Robinson and Eckler, I think, based on what they would have kept him for and his performance during the preseason. There's a lot there's a lot left there. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not sure if I'm up or down about it. If the potential's there, the role that he's given during the season, if he gets carries during the game or not. So that'll be what I'd like to see in that situation. But I do think, in my opinion, that Wiley did play well enough to be the third back.
What you got, Big Son?
Yeah, that's my sentiments exactly. I believe Wiley showed enough on film, even the plays that were called back because of penalties or whatever when he was in there. Um, I believe he showed enough gall and how to be in the game. There was times when he was in the game, he got stuffed. He come back out in the game next drive, blowing it up. You know what I'm saying? Running around the corner, getting 7 yards, getting 8 yards, or whatever. So I think Wiley should have had the job over McNichols. I just think that what they were saying about McNichols didn't transfer on the field because I really didn't see it. You know what I'm saying? So I just believe they did Wiley and Rodriguez an injustice. They could have kept either one of them, or kept Wiley and put Rodriguez on the practice squad, or whatever the case. But I just don't think Jeremy was the answer. That's just
All
me personally.
right, so real quick, because you said something, because I say nothing to say after you said something. I think that McNichols and Wiley outperformed Rodriguez in the preseason.
I'm with you,
I
Vito.
beg to
I'm with
differ.
you,
I
Vito.
would
I
beg to
agree with that
differ.
too.
Only reason why I say I would beg to differ, it was one drive when Rodriguez touched the ball 3 different times. And 3 different times, every time he touched the ball, it was a holding call that was nothing to do to him. Nothing to do to him. And I remember every play Rodriguez played this preseason because they rarely let him play. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
He
I
was.
remember the
Yeah,
plays
I
that
know.
he was
I
hitting.
work to the corner now.
You can
So
go back.
that's my gripe with it. So how can you outplay somebody when the people that's on the team with him
My bad.
is getting called and stuff? So it looked like he's not getting no production. You see what I'm saying? So that's my gripe with it. Like I would have preferred Wiley or Rodriguez instead of McNichols, because McNichols had way more time on the field than either one of them. He didn't produce nowhere near what they was producing. I just don't like it.
Rodriguez had 8 carries for 4 yards, 4 catches for 39 yards.
The 4 catches sound good.
Yes.
Yeah, the 4 catches sound good.
And on the plays, me and Bro watched it. And my line row. On the plays where we talk about the man is in the backfield before the man even gets started. Whose fault is that? Is that his fault? No, it's not.
I
It's
mean,
not
I
his
get
fault.
it. I get it. It ain't his fault. Me personally, I didn't want none of them. I
Bro,
really
did we
wanted
not
us.
watch that film, bro?
I do
Yeah, we
think
watched the
Wiley was
film. We
okay.
watched
We
the
watched
film.
that film and seen it.
Yeah.
So that's my gripe with it. Like McNichols, we can watch this film and all right, yeah, cool. But McNichols didn't have home plays and all that stuff going on with a lot of that stuff going on when he was on the field. You
McNichols
know what I'm
had
saying?
carries, 36 yards, 2 catches, 10 yards.
Yeah, I didn't like that. I wasn't impressed by that either. I'm saying, like, my opinion is we need at that third running back spot. We should have tried to get somebody that's a game changer, which is why I'm mad that Dallas signed Dalvin Cook today, and that we didn't even look at that as a option at all. Not saying
We're
that
not,
he gonna go out there, not saying he gonna go out there and dominate, and I understand he's a starting level running back in most teams and all that other stuff, but what I'm saying is that there's talent out there that's going to change that's going to change the temperature of the game when they get in.
and
And that's what I
I
look for out of a splashback. To me, the third running back should be a splashback. It should either be a guy that's super fast, where you could be like, okay, like this is some real crazy speed, or a power back, somebody that can run some people over, somebody that got a special skill. And I don't feel
yeah,
like Nichols necessarily got that. I think he could catch the ball a little bit. He's a kind of all around back, but he's kind of a lower version of Austin Eckler, and we already got Austin Eckler. So Wiley, I did like what I seen from Wiley. Wiley did put out some impressive tape, in my opinion. So I'm happy we did get him on the practice squad. Rodriguez, man, him catching. I didn't even realize he had a 10-yard average on receiving. So I think that's really good. So that's okay to put on the practice squad as well. But I wasn't happy about the McNichols pick.
So who got a rebuttal to point? Who got a rebuttal to point?
I do. Um, Dalvin Cook is going to get between almost $2 million, $3 million, and you can't give your third back that much money. You can't give your third back $1 million, $2 million less than your starting back. Also, his playing time at third as a third back is essentially meaning that he's going to be on third down or a splash player to relieve someone when they're tired or something like that.
Yeah, I want to say specifically Dalvin Cook. I'm just saying that I feel like that's talent there. You know, not to cut you off, but say this
No, no,
talent.
no, no. Completely
Yeah,
agree. But
yeah,
I was about to say was that I also think that what I was making a notion of is that the coaching staff, although prior coaches in different places and all of that has experience, this is the first year they're taking over this team, and I think that at least where I have some gripes and some disagreements, I still believe that they're trying to build the best team going forward into the season. You only have a certain amount of weeks to prepare once you're given the job, especially if you're not giving it at the end of the season last year immediately. Also, when you have time to draft and things like that, you have to get those guys in, and it's time to get a season going. So you don't have a lot of time to say, okay, we got a year to put this roster together, and we can skip this season coming up, and we'll be ready
yeah.
the year after. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's a lot about getting familiar guys in and trying to at least make the best of what they're trying to build right now. I do have some slight concern, but I'll share that for a little bit later in the show.
Okay. Okay. Now my take. I didn't really like. Okay, let me go back and make sure I get the guys' names right. McNichols. I wasn't really. I'm not really the biggest McNichols fan personally. I think Michael Wiley showed he was head and shoulders above Rodriguez, McNichols, and Jones. I think Shawty made plays. That's why they. I mean, whatever they signed him to the practice squad. So in light, he might get an opportunity if nobody signs him. Can they sign him off our practice squad?
Yeah, once it's a certain amount of weeks, and then
Okay,
yeah.
so right, so more than likely he might get an opportunity. I think when he does get an opportunity, he's gonna show out. He's gonna show out. He's a gamer. Michael Wiley is a gamer, in my opinion. And so I think he outperformed McNichols. I think McNichols was the worst of all the four. I thought McNichols was, even though
I kind of
Rodriguez,
agree with you
yeah,
there.
even though Rodriguez didn't show, this year particularly didn't have a good preseason during the games maybe, and even though he didn't have a good camp, I think Rodriguez has a certain burst with him that we all have seen.
Right, right.
So yeah,
Agree.
so I would have took more what he's done in the past than maybe what I saw this in preseason from him. Jones is the slowest of them all. So so I wasn't all that impressed with Jones.
And if to add anything, like with Big Son, like I'm not disagreeing that Rodriguez may be the better talent
Right.
or may have the better potential, but
Mhm.
just for fit in the roster and what they're trying to do. And even with what they're trying to do as far as catching out the backfield. But remember, I told you when we had Chris Thompson, our third down back or our back that goes in for passing downs has to be able to run and catch. You know what I'm saying? The splashback is like, all right, it depends on whether we're up in the game or if we just need a certain amount of yardage. Some teams pick big guys for the power just to run power downs, or you get that splashback when your two guys or your one guy has been getting it in for a minute and you just want to change the pace or something like that. I will say that McNichols can do both. I think he can catch out the backfield and run the ball. It was not seen as much in the preseason. If I go back to tape from San Francisco, he's played well out there. Again, very little time on the field based on backing up Christian McCaffrey, or just being a back behind Christian McCaffrey. So it'll be interesting to see. I still will stand behind what I said though. I definitely think that Wiley should have made the game. I mean, made the team. He just made plays when you needed to make plays. There were plays where he got stopped in the backfield. Same drive, he catches a pass out the backfield for about 12. No, for about 11 yards. No, I think that was the 15-yard gain, and that was for a first down. On like a 3rd and 7 or a 3rd and 9 after a penalty. You know what I'm saying? Like it just again for me, like I think that well we'll get to it. We'll say when we get to the ends, but one of our defensive ends just made plays during the red zone. I just think those show up on tape a certain way.
Yeah, I totally agree. I totally agree. So yeah, that's just my take on that.
Last point, and I promise it ain't anything long. You got to reward the guys that have gotten you points. Wiley
I
is one of
agree.
he has 2 touchdowns during the preseason. No other back has a touchdown.
See, I agree with that. I agree with that. Totally agree. Okay, so let's move right along to the next position. I think we got the wide receivers coming up. This one should be very, very interesting. We've had a lot of talk about the wide receivers over this preseason because you've had one traded. You've had a couple other ones just make incredible plays. You got another one who we signed during the preseason. And it all boils down to this. Terry McLaurin, number one. De'Ami Brown, number two. Olame Zacchaeus, number three. Luke McCaffrey, number 4, Jameson Crowder, number 5, and Brian Pringle, number 6. Cuts are Martavius Bryant, Cashmere Allen, Davion Davis, Mitchell Tinsley, Marcus Rosemary Jackson, and Bryson Tremaine are the cuts. What do you guys got on the receivers?
They kept Bryson Tremaine, they kept Cashmere Allen, and they kept Mitchell Tinsley. Mitchell Tinsley, I agree with, because Mitchell Tinsley has some wheels on him. Cashmere Allen does too, and maybe he's like a split tweener between backs, and possibly you can use him as maybe a special teams guy in the future. And I think you can use him in practice scenarios where you want your defense to face a guy that can do some things that the other teams will be able to do against you. Um, Outside of that, I disagree heavily with Brian Pringle making the team above a number of guys. I have no idea why Martavius Bryant, unless him being 32 was the problem, but I do not see why you signed him other than to let him play and to keep some of your wide receivers off the field since you had such a short list. But based on what you kept in the practice squad and what you had to cut, I don't think that list was that short in order for you to have to sign Martavius Bryant. But what I will say is that the way that he performed, that man deserves a job in the NFL. And with my team, I would have preferred that even as the 5th or 6th receiver, just because your matchup is a former number 2 receiver. You traded away a number 1 first round pick, but he was a 3rd receiver with us. You have a number 2 that would be going against 4th string cornerbacks. And I just feel like that's a matchup that you would win if we're playing the chess game. It's not a long play, but for this year, I'd take that experience over Brian Pringle any day, any day of the season.
Okay. What you got? Who's that Point? What you got Point on the receivers?
So, AV, I'm gonna just agree with you here.
Oh, that's my sorry. You know what?
About
You're right, Point. Who got a rebuttal to Vito? Like instead of you, this ain't really your point because this is about Vito's point. Who got a rebuttal to Vito? It sounds like
I mean,
you
I ain't got a
one.
rebuttal, but I can say, you know, kind of the what.
You're breaking up
I
a
agree
bit.
with you. I'm breaking up.
Yeah, a little bit.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Am I still breaking up?
No. You good. You good.
Am I still breaking up?
No, you good.
Cool. So, I 1,000,000% with what you said about Brian Pringle, that there is.
Now you breaking up.
Now we don't got you.
All right,
Big Son, you
since
want to jump?
no, I'm gonna just come on there. So I am confused. Like y'all just throwing money around, like signing a player, like hey, what Vito saying, like signing a player because it's short and all that. But like, I'm confused. That man went out there, bodied a guy for a touchdown. Jack Shane bodied a guy for a first down, and you go get you. I mean, you Pringle. You don't want neither one of those guys. I'm just saying, like, I'm confused at this point. These guys had okay games. I don't know what they did in camp, so I can't say what they did in camp. Martavius Brown wasn't around, but what, like a week and a half or something like that? Maybe 8 days, 9 days. I don't know what it was. It was a very short period, but I believe that Pringle should not have made the team. Then y'all went out and signed, and this guy's not even on that. Y'all went out and signed Noah Brown. You know, like what are y'all doing? It's just like we're on a merry-go-round. Y'all get rid of Dotson. Then I go look at this man's stats. This man don't even have 11 touchdowns in his career. You know what I'm saying? So you don't have 11 touchdowns in your career. Dotson do. He got less time in his career as you. We're basically getting the same guy. Look at your stats. You had 33 catches last year,
No, bro,
567
I
yards.
disagree.
Five,
It's not the
Hold
same.
on,
33
hold on.
catches,
Let him finish.
506. Let me finish my point. 33 catches, 567 yards, and 2 touchdowns. You're the same guy. What are we doing here? I don't care about your shiftiness or nothing. You got the same production that he got last year. I don't care about that. We're on a merry-go-round right now. Choose your horse at this point.
Who got a
For real.
rebuttal?
I have a rebuttal.
That's my
I
point
have
right there.
I have
Who
one.
rebuttal? Who got the rebuttal?
Me, I got
Okay.
it. So personally, he is not the same guy as Dotson. I feel like 6'2" and 215 is a lot different than Dotson. He plays a lot more aggressive than what Dotson plays. I didn't get a chance to see if he can block or anything like that because I did see some highlights. But in their offense, Tank Dell is the guy. They throwing in the red zone. Tank Dell is the guy. One thing
Okay,
I did not see. Hold on. One thing I didn't
Dotson
see
wasn't the
Dotson
guy.
do.
So I mean,
Hold on though. One thing I didn't see Dotson do that I absolutely seen Noah Brown do is during the scramble drill, get in front of the quarterback to be able to make a catch. And Dotson, that's something that I wish Dotson would have done more of because I think that he may have that skill, but that's the man working through the whole play. And so I don't agree with that. Dotson, like to me, after going back and looking at Jahan Dotson, I think he's a baller, and I'm not going to doubt anything of his skill because I think he's going to I think pan out. But he didn't perform like a number one pick. So if he didn't perform like a number one pick, we giving you a chance in camp. We didn't trade you at the beginning of the camp. We gave you a chance through the whole camp to see what you got. If De'Ami Brown beats you out, and they say, "Hey, we got other guys on this team that can do what you do. Why not let you go?" I don't agree with the trade to Philly, but I do agree with if he wasn't given the same effort that the other guys were given, then what are you supposed to do?
but you're basically getting the same production back that you let go. That's what I'm saying. And then you let
Production.
go of commodity that they didn't have anyway. They didn't have that type of piece out there in Philly, and they're already on the cuffs. If you want to say they're already on the cuffs of going back to the playoffs, why would you feed them anything?
No, I agree with the trade to
You
Philly.
know what I'm saying? So, and then the fact, like I'm saying, you just got
You
back
say
what you
trade
gave
to
away.
Philly.
I
You
feel
You
got
like
say
back
I,
what you
trade to
gave
Philly.
away.
I feel like you can afford
But
to do that with Dotson because I think people are assuming that you gave away something more than what you really did.
yes,
I don't think, and here again, hear me out, and I'll take the blame if that's the case. But right now, just right now, I don't believe that this defensive staff, being that Joe Witt and Dan Quinn are defensive guys first, and they've proven themselves over the last few seasons. Outside of that, they've proven themselves before that they can call good defenses and run good defensive schemes. So if you let go a player of high draft status, and let's not forget, if we look at the draft that we all saw in the group about the quarterbacks from 2022, where you're drafted at doesn't mean you're going to be a good player in this league. You have to have
nah.
the work ethic, you have to have the want to, and you have to be able to be coached in whatever situation you're in, whether you got a good coach or not, just to be able to keep a job around here sometimes. And I don't wish Dotson the worst as a human being or as a person. As a fan of the Washington team and someone that doesn't like the Eagles as far as a division rival, I definitely again still disagree with the trade to the Eagles, but I feel like if that's the best that you were able to get back in offer, then you take that if you believe that this player does not want to ultimately be here, or if they're not showing that they can. Yes, you can trade him to someone else, but it's not about getting the less value so the team in your division doesn't have an advantage if that's what you want to look at it like. Paris Campbell, if anybody remembers or knows who Paris Campbell is, Paris Campbell is a really good receiver. He was really good in Indianapolis since they had him. He didn't have the greatest season last year, but again, all of the balls, pardon me, and pause, are going to AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, Goddard, and was going to their running back last year. You have to imagine that even at this spot for Dotson, you're still talking about a 40 to 50 target, maybe possibly reception guy. Does he have success in this role? Depends on how Philadelphia uses him. From things that I've seen so far, he's going to be asked to beat man coverage. And that's something that he has success in doing. Jalen Hurts is a good quarterback in comparison to us having to try to figure out what quarterbacks we're going to have. But if everyone thinks that the Eagles are just going to keep rolling over the NFL and aren't going to have any challenges, that's crazy. There are only so many teams that are
Agreed.
that consistently good every single year in, year out. Now, don't get me wrong. I am not saying that Philadelphia is not on pace to be one of those teams. But I'm saying that even in the tank year, which I've explained before, your team is 3 points away, or our team is 3 points away from winning against this team. Do you make them better? No. But I do believe this wholeheartedly that Sanders still, as long as he's healthy, is going to beat Dotson's ass in that matchup if they're running man-to-man. You know what I'm saying? So I'm looking at
Workhorse.
if you're
Hey,
a
hey,
defensive
hold on.
coordinator
Yeah.
and you want, you know what I'm saying, you want to believe
Hold on,
that this,
hold
and
on.
look at the
Hold
confidence.
on, I'm gonna drop a
I
gem.
need to
Can
give
I
you a
drop a
workhorse to
gem?
that, V.
Look
Hey,
at
V,
the
I need to give
look at
you.
the
I
confidence.
need to
Look
give
at the
you a workhorse to that, V.
Thank you very much.
You
Look at the
know,
confidence that you're giving your first round defensive back, that we don't care that he's going to go play for the ops. We believe that in what we're going to run, you're going to be able to. I mean, and again, Adam Peters, again, they has said we're not worried about that. There's something that's been on Twitter, like we're not worried about that. That says to me, even though you're trying to be humble in some way, Adam, we don't give a about Dotson going over there. He's not going to do nothing against what we got. We've seen him in practice. Like I said, we weren't hearing about him tearing up practices or team
He,
practices against other teams and stuff like that. And I'm not saying that he doesn't have success. They run something totally different. But again, he came in uninterested. And as well, he only bigged up the signing of Saquon Barkley because of the Penn State thing. And are these guys not supposed to be supportive of their friends or fellow alma mater? No, that's not the case. It happens all the time. But when that's the concern or when that's the topic, that means you're not concerned about getting or keeping your job, a new regime coming in and trying to go from losing to winning. He's going to have to learn the entire offense that the Eagles are presenting. You know what I'm saying? And that's going to take its time. Paris Campbell already knows this. So based on just assumption, we're
I think
assuming
Paris
that he's
Campbell.
going to beat.
uh,
What?
I think Paris Campbell got cut.
Okay. All right. So that again,
I'm
that's
just saying, my thing, before we go to the next one, last time one of our receivers went to another team in the division, what happened?
who's that?
Who was that?
Devin Thomas. He ain't do nothing against us, but what happened though?
You said who?
Devin Thomas.
I don't even know who that is, Big Son.
I do.
No,
He won the
you
Super
know who
Bowl
that
with the
is.
Giants. He
You
had
know
the
that.
scoreboard
Thank
against
you,
San
Ro.
Francisco.
Thank
He
you,
was
Ro.
on the
He was
Giants
one
with
of
the
them
Thank you,
first
Ro.
round
Super Bowl.
busts.
I
You
know
talking
who
about
he
that
is.
game
Who?
when he went to Denver?
Devin Thomas. Devin Thomas.
He
And
went to
y'all remember
Denver?
Devin Thomas? He was drafted. We drafted 2 receivers in the first round. And Devin Thomas was one of them. He wasn't good like that with us, but went to the Giants and was an incredible special teams player. He's the reason that they went to the Super Bowl. He got 2 fumbles and a fumble recovery for a touchdown for the San Francisco 49ers when they went to the Super Bowl against for the New York Giants, sorry, when they went to the Super Bowl against the Patriots the second time and they beat him. It's Devin Thomas.
Mm-hmm.
Paris Campbell still with the Eagles. No. They cut him. They cut him and James Bradbury.
That's all I'm saying. You don't go help out the competition. That's it. You know.
My take on it is, let me get my take on these receivers, right? Y'all know that I don't believe in trading anybody to the Eagles. So I was totally against it. Everything about it. I think Josh Harris a mole. Y'all know that's how I feel. I think he's trying to help the Eagles get back to the Super Bowl so he can make some money off Philadelphia market. That's my take on that part of it when it comes to Johan Dotson, right? I've already said this. We said this in the breaking news. I've said it several times. So that part I don't really have to discuss, right? But going to what we got at receiver. You got Terry McLaurin at the 1. He's a true 1. De'Ami Brown at the 2. That's effectively in this offense. I'm just going to use the Minnesota Vikings a little bit. And the old Randy Moss Minnesota Vikings. I think De'Ami Brown would be a Randy Moss sort of a guy in this offense. Terry McLaurin would be more of a Chris Carter. You know, more of the guy who's the veteran, get all the receivers. When you need one, you should be able to go to Terry. You should be able to get open and do his thing. So boom, you got that effect. Then you got Zacchaeus in the middle, but I think it's going to be I don't know if Zacchaeus solidifies that role there because I believe Luke McCaffrey is going to get a lot of work at the 3. And so I think he would effectively be Jake Reed in that offense. And Jake Reed was a guy similar built to Luke McCaffrey. So I think Luke McCaffrey might get a little bit of a burn right there in that offense. Zacchaeus is going to get some work too, because actually Zacchaeus, when he played, he was really active in the preseason. So he knows how to get open. He knows how to catch and run with it. He'll get some screens and some different stuff like that. So he'll get an opportunity. One of my favorite receivers in this, though, is Jamison Crowder. I think Jamison Crowder is unstoppable, unguardable man on man in the slot. That's just my opinion. I mean, and if anybody want to show me some film where somebody really got with him, a healthy Jamison Crowder, what he got with him in the slot, please show me the film, because I personally haven't seen it. So I think Jamison Crowder, if given some opportunity at that third receiver, will really help Jaden Daniels out as a rookie, because he will always be open. He knows how to get open. So that's one of my favorite receivers on this receiving core is Jamison Crowder. He's a veteran. He's been here. We drafted him back in 2014, I believe. He's out of Duke. So that's just, from that. Brian Pringle, I'm not big on. And I would have took Martavis Bryant over Brian Pringle. And I would have took Marcus Rosemary St. Jean over Brian Pringle. I'm not big on Bryson Tremaine. Cashmere Island had the fumble. He's quick, so he does have some potential there where you could work with him, maybe get him better at his ball handling skills. But as far as that, he did get a lot of work. However, I just think he's not ready, because of the fumbling and, some of the ball security things that's going on. Davion Davis, I was rooting for Davion Davis to make the team. I think every time he's been out there, he's played well. So I can't say anything negative about him. And he follows the show. So he should have been number two on here. I like Terry. I can't go with Terry, but he should have been number 2 on the roster because he followed the show. And I think he would have showed up if he was, because again, nothing stood out to me with just like, oh, that's a horrible play. Like Dotson had one play, but we was like, oh man, Dotson, what you doing out there, bro? But we didn't have any of those moments with Davion Davis. So for me, it would have been good to see him maybe get an opportunity to play. I know they didn't keep him, but hopefully another team out there sees what he got. And, maybe our show, they might watch our show and say, hey, maybe we should take a look at this guy. So if they do that, we'll be more appreciative to get the young man into a jersey somewhere. You dig? So, yeah, that's my take on the receivers. Anybody got any rebuttals?
Nah, but I didn't get a chance to do my receivers because I got cut out.
Oh, my bad. Yeah, you sure didn't. Yeah, go ahead.
So
do your thing.
I would like to do the receivers. Me personally, I feel like we seen some of Zacchaeus, but I'm not necessarily sold on Zacchaeus either. Like Rose said, I do agree with what you said about Luke McCaffrey potentially taking a lot of those snaps. And I think they're going to move Terry around a lot. So Terry will be in the slot sometimes, and I can see Luke McCaffrey and De'Ami Brown on the outside quite a bit. So I will say this. Pringle, like everybody said, it's unanimous. A couple people been unanimous, right? So far, we've had a unanimous that Driscoll shouldn't have made it. We had a unanimous that what's his name? Mick the running back. I can't think of his name. McDaniels. It was unanimous that he shouldn't have made it. And then we have another one here. Where's Pringle? Now the only thing is, I will say about Pringle is that I've seen the level of explosiveness from Pringle, and maybe that's what they're going to keep. Maybe Pringle is going to be our return man, and so maybe that was one of our secret whatever. But now that we traded for Noah Brown, do you think we even going to keep Pringle on the roster right now? Or you think we're going to bump him down the practice squad? Because we still do have you have a total of 16 potential people that you could put on your practice squad. 6 veterans, 10 young players, and then 1 emergency quarterback. So I can kind of see Pringle being knocked down and then bringing Noah Brown into that spot.
See, that's another thing. Okay, so you signed Noah Brown. You already got 6 receivers. What's going on? What is the plan here?
I mean, I like Noah Brown. I'm gonna be real. Like I was trying to say earlier. One thing I liked
I
about
don't.
Noah Brown that I've seen on tape is that he is really good when that quarterback gets out the pocket. And we know that Jaden Daniels is going to get out the pocket. So if he can stop Jaden Daniels from having to try to run 20 yards and be open down the field 15, 20 yards, and then running after the play, that's going to help him a
But
whole
the
lot.
problem is for me, Jaden Daniels isn't really a scrambler. When he gets out the pocket, he's going upfield. He's not Caleb Williams where he sits or Patrick Mahomes where he sits behind the line of scrimmage and just runs around until he can find a man that's open. That's not what he
No,
does.
no, 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 no. I'm not even just saying on that sense because C.J. Stroud is a guy that gets out the pocket and usually something like that. But a good quarterback that runs still keeps his eyes down the field. And from what it seems like, Brown is able to get in front of that quarterback and be visible. And that's a key thing. That's something that tight ends have, like the Kelseys of the world. You know what I mean? And I get that you're saying Mahomes scrambles some more, but it's the fact that Kelsey gets right in front of where Mahomes is scrambling at and a similar sitting to the zones and stuff like that. It seems like Noah Brown is really good at that from what
I,
I've seen on
I could
film.
buy that. I could buy that, except for the fact that you have no preseason chemistry with him, with your team, or in your offense. Just like Rose said, unless you're gonna cut Pringle, unless you're gonna cut Pringle and put him on the practice squad, where does Noah Brown actually fit? And when do you have time to put him in the game? Like, are you gonna flip flop from players on the practice squad? This week you on the team, next week you cut. This week you on the team, next week you cut. Because doing that, that means that you're still unsure about your roster. And at some point in time, you got to say, all right, these are the guys that we're going with because these guys got to nobody's hurt. So by nobody being hurt, there's worry. To me, there's worry. Are you sure that Dayami's going to be your number two? Because it seems that you keep getting bigger receivers that may fit the bill for the number two spot rather than anything else. And from camp, they said that Dayami is the best blocking wide receiver that we have. That's good, but if he was the fourth receiver in Rivera's offense that ran predominantly a good amount, except for when we had Bieniemy, why I'm a little confused. And again, different coaching staff, different schemes, and we didn't necessarily have like a top 10 running game with Rivera here. So again, schemes are different, but I'm just not sure about that. Uh, Pringle being a return man, didn't see enough of that for me to buy that. Crowder, if he's not the return guy, then you probably go somewhere else. But I see Zacchaeus being the number three and Crowder being the return specialist and a tweener, like basically the guy that you would your third down scat back or your mix up back. I see that being Crowder in situations where you may need to have a slot receiver or three receivers, but instead of putting Terry in the slot, you want to put somebody else that can work the zones and stuff like that. I see that being Crowder. Zacchaeus, when you need to be the corner via speed, I see putting in the younger Zacchaeus because he's a little bit quicker than Crowder is. But I'm with you. I am with you in agreement that I didn't see enough to know a guaranteed role for him. But I do know that he does find a way to get open. I do think that he'll open on some seam routes based on how intricate the offense will be during the regular season.
I mean, what I was saying with that is that I don't know if he gets a lot of time anyway, but in a rotational reason, right? So
You
let's
gone
say it's
again,
late in the
Leo?
game.
I got him. I
Can
got him. I can
you
hear
hear
him.
me?
You hear him, Vito?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So like, let's say it's late in the game, right? And if you late in the game, players are tired. If he's a guy that skill set is to get, open in those times and in those spaces, that's going to be a pivotal thing that we need. I don't think that like he's going to come on the team and dominate. I don't even know if he gets the same numbers that he had in Houston. But I think that that's a pretty good addition because of size as well. He's 6'2", 215. He plays aggressive. So I think that, maybe you do have a guy that if De'Ami Brown's a little nicked up or Luke McCaffrey's not feeling well, that you could put out there and he's the same size as those guys, some of the bigger guys that we have on the receiving core. I personally think that we're going to try to make a trade before week 1 for like a T Higgins or um, uh, right now T Higgins, and Jamal Chase, and Brandon Ayuk. They still not reporting to camp, and basically we looking for a receiver. So potentially we could be going after a big name second receiver, and so in that case, we won't be talking about Jahan Dotson no more.
Okay, so this is my fear with this. That I sort of have when it comes to Adam Peters. And I see he does this, he's done this, and I feel like he did this with Doxson. I feel like he just does this sometimes. Sometimes you could overthink something or do too much, or try to be so savvy that you just do something you ain't got no daggone business doing. So I have a tad bit of fear, you know what I mean, when it comes to Adam Peters in that sense,
And
because
for first year, it seemed like you're doing a lot of that.
right, you get what I'm saying. So I have a tad bit fear that you just
Well, no,
Well,
no.
it was a.
Let
I'm
me
gonna
let me
be
clear
real.
that
It
up,
was.
bro, real quick. It's not that I feel like you're doing a lot of that. I feel like from when you started, I feel like everything seemed like you were certain, and then now it feels like you're second guessing yourself.
right.
Yeah, you reach it too
I
much.
could
Well,
Right, you're
merry-go-round.
reaching.
that a little bit, and I would say this though. I mean, he had a lot of work to do. We were 4-13 last year. We were really, really bad. It's not like we were okay. It's not like we were decent. It's not like no, we were bad last year. We were bad at everything: offense, defense, blocking, everything except for the right way, which is the trust way. Mr. Make a way. Other than him, and he didn't even have his best season last year. So coming in, and when they say recalibrate, I think the core pieces as far as Terry McLaurin, Jonathan Allen, Deron Payne, all of those guys are still there. Our number one pick from last year, he may hopefully he pans out, but he's still here. And I think that we got a lot of good young players that's going to contribute to the team like right away, but just not at that wide receiver position.
I get you, but he still scares me. I'm gonna keep it real. He still scares me.
I'm good, man. I'm good. I think he did a good job, man. I'm not going to shoot down the job that he did in the off season because we getting close to the season and he's shuffling a little bit. Because I think everybody in the NFL was shuffling. It's not just him.
I'm still a little fearful. I don't, I get it. I get what everybody's saying, but he has that. I mean, he strikes me as that do too much with that do too much tendency. And I ain't saying he has it, but I can see him doing too much. Let's just say that.
What you wrote, like tell me, and real quick, so we don't stay on it too long, because we can move on to the tight ends. But tell me how much it makes sense for you to play the likes of a Martavius Bryant for the
Yeah.
two that you got, and you brought him in late to camp, whether that was when he was available or just whatever happened, and there were no known injuries for you to bring in another receiver other than to try out the guys that you already had. So
Yep.
to bring him in showed that you were either getting ready to make a move in the likes of what you did with Dotson, which we didn't know at the time. But even if you were looking for a number two, why let him to pick up someone who's going to have to learn everything that you're trying to establish?
Right.
I mean, I can agree with that. I can agree with picking up somebody else, but I just don't think that any of those guys, and maybe I'm wrong, but just speaking as the devil's advocate here, maybe none of those guys really shot out the way that they were supposed to do at that position. When you got Terry doing it at a very high level, I feel, and most people in the NFL feel Terry's doing it at a high level. You want somebody to complement that guy, and so far no knock to Dotson, but Dotson didn't necessarily compliment Terry McLaurin.
Martavius Bryant only created positive every
And,
time.
and don't get me wrong, I was about to say Martavius Bryant might have been one of those guys that we might have could have put on the team because I think he's a very talented guy, and I think he showed that he's NFL. He has NFL pedigree,
Like that, what he did in the preseason would prove at least my theory of what he would be able to bring for you in the regular season.
And little bit of it, yeah. At least some of it. And if not 100% of it, definitely some of it. He'll definitely be able to get some pass interferences. And one
Look
thing
who
I did like about Noah Brown, which I think that like a lot of the Martavius Bryant stuff that I see, I could kind of see in Noah Brown. He's really good at catching in traffic.
but
So
no,
I think that
he's
I
not.
don't know. I don't know if they move Pringle now. Like I said, they probably move Pringle, and then with Noah Brown, Luke McCaffrey, Crowder, Brown, De'Ami Brown, and Terry McLaurin. I think that's a pretty good wide receiver core. Just my opinion.
No, again, I don't think that the wide receiver core is bad. I
Yeah,
was just, or Noah Brown, what you would expect from that, what you at least are looking forward to getting from him. You're getting a younger athlete who's a similar size to Martavius Bryant, and maybe
yeah,
you're saying to yourself that if we put a younger player who has the same size, who's been currently playing in the same positions, maybe he'll. But when you have film from someone that you have in running what you're trying to run week one, whether it be a vanilla shell of it or not, in almost every situation against the D backs that he would be facing in a game, the fourth string or fifth string D back. That's what
yeah,
he would be up against, depending on where they line him up at. It's very likely that he's going to get a penalty against an inexperienced. It's 8. He's got 8 years experience on a cornerback who's likely probably a 1 year guy or a 4 year guy who hasn't progressed yet.
yeah. I mean, hey, V, you hitting the points, bro. Like, so I don't, I agree with you about Martavius Bryant because I do think that he played well enough to potentially earn a spot.
What was the point in signing him though if you wasn't going to offer him a spot? Because if you think he played
Well,
well
because
enough
you tried
to
them
get
out.
us,
I mean, this is the preseason, bro. You try him out. It's not like they signed him in the regular season. They signed
but
him in
he,
the
oh,
preseason.
hold
Try
up,
him
but
out.
okay, so this is the dilemma. You just said I feel like he played well enough to make the team. That's what you said out your
Yeah,
mouth,
I did. I
right?
do. I did.
So if you feel that way, I'm pretty sure that all the guys which y'all think would take a panel, did he play good enough to make the team? Everybody
Yeah,
unanimously
of
feels that
course.
way.
Yeah.
Who feels he
Most
didn't?
of it. I second that.
Okay, so if all of us at least, and we've all watched all the games, if all of us feel like he played well enough to make the team, what why didn't they sign him? What happened to where they went on to somebody like a Pringle? What is going on? What was the point? What did he have to do to get signed? Or what didn't
Well,
happen
and
which didn't get him signed? Like, what is going on here? Because at this point, I believe he played well enough to make the team. I look at the options that you chose. I might have chose him over the kids, and I might have chose him over Pringle. So when I look at the options, mainly because of his size and because of his physicality. So
well, they had a whole camp. I would say they had a whole camp with Pringle. They had a whole camp
so
with the
oh,
kids.
so I'm asking you, what do you think had to happen for Martavius Bryant to make this team? If we all say, well,
No,
he played well enough to make, so obviously,
that's what I'm
what was
saying.
missing? What was
I
missing?
think that he couldn't have made the team. I think that more than likely they was looking at him to see what he got. If he would have went out there and just went for like 150 or something like that, then of course. But if he had a good outing, I think. I think he played well enough. We all do. But at the same time, they had a whole camp with the other people that they actually picked. So they got a chance to see a lot more of what
They
those
picked
guys
him
can
too,
do.
though.
No, I mean they had a whole camp with them. They been with the rookie camps, the mini camps, the vet camps, the going against the Dolphins, the going against the Jets. They had a lot more film on those other guys, and I think that
So,
that's an uphill climb for
again, so
somebody that
what
joins
was the
the
point
pro.
of bringing him in? So you brought him in just to see if he was going to dominate. Then he had to dominate to make the team, is what you're saying.
Um, what I'm saying, yeah, but maybe that's not what they thought. I'm just saying my personal opinion. Maybe that's what I'm saying. What I think if he would have came out there and let's say he would have went 3 catches, 100 yards, and a touchdown, then maybe you say and he was close to having that. That's what I'm saying. He got those pass interferences. So let's say he does that in the game, then maybe you have no choice but to sign him. It's like it's an uproar. But because he just had a decent game. He got a couple pass interferences. He did his thing, and there's no knock on him doing his thing because he definitely did his thing. I was definitely impressed with the the way that he performed when he was supposed to. So, but like I said, they had a whole camp with Pringle. They had a whole camp with the kids, and let's be real. De'Ami Brown made right now. We just look at who made the team off the jump. Terry McLaurin made the team for sure. Then we're gonna say Luke McCaffrey made the team for sure. That was their third round pick. So of course they're gonna want him on the mob, right? So just that off the jump, right? Unless he was trash, then guess what? He probably wouldn't have made the team. But because he panned
Oh,
out to be what they thought he was, he made the team. De'Ami Brown make the team, of course. And then you need you need another veteran receiver. So of course you go with somebody like Jamison Crowder, right? So those
right,
are four right there, right? So
right.
Zacchaeus been showing up in the whole camp. I've been seeing stuff about Zacchaeus. I seen stuff about Zacchaeus almost every time that they said something about training camp or mini camp or whatever camp, right? So Zacchaeus made the team. So you got one spot left essentially, and it's between Pringle and then the other guys. I think that you could have given it. We all agree that you could have given it to Brian, but they did have a whole camp with Pringle. They have seen what Pringle can do and what Pringle can bring to the table.
Okay, so King Ike says clearly they see y'all can read it on the screen, but I'm gonna read out to the fans, for the ones who might can't see it. They clearly feel super confident in their ability to see talent. They say I think it's going to be a week to week for starters after McLaurin. What do you guys for one? No. What do you guys feel about that statement? And then I want to go to Vito and say, why didn't Martavius Bryant make this team?
32 years old.
Okay.
I hate to say it, but because of being 32 and every other receiver is 6 years younger, probably just as athletic until you get maybe until week 7 or 8, where he's maybe a little looser. You've gotten him with trainers, you've stretched him out a little bit, pause, and given him an opportunity to get acclimated back into the game. As you stated, if this isn't a tank season, you kind of don't have that time, you know what I'm saying, to kind of really like wait for him to get ready to play. If he hadn't been suspended and had more playing time, i.e., like a Noah Brown, which is one of the other guys that you tried to bring in, I don't know how that works week one. Again, maybe they try him out in camp and say, okay, you'll beat out Pringle and we'll have you as the number 6 receiver. Again, you're trying. So I do applaud the efforts. I just need to. You got to make a decision. You can't keep doing this the first week of the season. Again, Dan Quinn stating that this week the team will still basically go through the rigmarole until about week 2. I'm just not as confident as that. Are you saying that we're wasting a game because they took away one of the preseason games? Like, is this a league wide? We're not going to take week 1 seriously because it's really still supposed to be 16 games. Like, all of these things just cause a little bit of extra confusion. I do know that it's a business. You work to the wire to get the best for your team. I just feel like I don't want to sign anybody. But again, that's why I say that the Noah Brown signing just feels a little too familiar to me. You know what I'm saying? It's like we got somebody that we've kind of been around or had the experience of being around as far as coaches and stuff. Dan Quinn obviously has been beat by this guy in practice enough that he feels like he can, do some help or be some help on the team. If we feel like Dotson was going to be able to give us some of what what the Eagles were, if give the Eagles some of what we were trying to do, then Noah Brown presents the same thing for us with the Cowboys, and we definitely got to beat them too. So even if it's just a strategic move on what they'd like to do and things of that sort, maybe it's something like that. But like right now, I kind of want them to be a little consistent on making sure that they've made the right decisions. Again, this is the time to figure it out. But you got to pay these guys, even if you cut them. You know what I'm saying, based on signing bonus. If they're giving any, if they're not giving a signing bonus, you don't got to pay them. But you're signing these guys. It's not like you're interviewing. We bring you in, let me see what you got, then we let you go the next day or the same day. You're signing these guys. They're here for a week or two, and I'm not sure what that cost is, but you're spending a lot of your money, you know what I'm saying, trying to find patchwork. And there's guys out here that are, pretty big at their position, or pretty decent at their position, that you could have given shots a lot earlier.
Big Son, why didn't Martavius Bryant make this team? Where is Big Son? Okay, so we had. I'll give my opinion. I don't think there's anything he could have done to make the team. I believe that he was. Y'all know how I feel. It was about this hype train. So I think he had a name. I think we were looking for a receiver with a name who was cheap to keep, whether it was to keep fans in the building, whether it was to grow this excitement. I mean, I just don't think that because they did not sign him after what we saw on the field, we know that he brought something to the table that we don't see around here often, which was that physicality at the receiver position. So if nothing else, he brought a different element to the team, right? And y'all can say that Jack Saint did the same thing. Cool, but Jack Saint didn't make the team either. Jack Saint didn't make the team either. So for me, at least, and again, people can say I'm right, wrong, whatever. That's fine. What was the point of bringing him in? Did you really give him a real opportunity to make the team? Was it something that you saw in practice? Why you like, nah, and if you saw that in practice, did he, wash away those concerns during the game with McSorley? I felt like those guys had chemistry. I felt like McSorley, and again, going back to the quarterback, I didn't give my opinion on that. I felt like McSorley should have made the team as well. He should have been the backup. Or did I say that? I think I probably said that. But however, I just felt
did that.
yeah, okay. So, however, those guys found some sort of chemistry. And for whatever that's worth, you got a rookie quarterback. And if you have another guy who's only been in for a week, say, hey, who's the easiest guy to throw the ball to? Is this guy over here? I think that could have benefited Jaden Daniels. If McSorley saw it, then, of course, Jaden Daniels probably could take advantage of it too. So I think that's just something that I don't feel they ever considered. And if they were ever serious about signing him, I felt like that's how they would have looked at it. Like, oh, okay, well, this guy's obviously easy to throw the ball to, and he could take advantage of cornerbacks with his size alone, which is what we saw him do. So that's why I'm kind of confused. Like, okay, well, y'all wasn't really serious about signing this guy anyway. You just need somebody to play preseason so you can sit your starters. It never was about evaluating him. It was about having somebody to sit your starters. It's having somebody who could work out the other quarterbacks with.
Yep. I agree with that.
So that's why, no offense to
I feel like you may be on something there, brother. Hey, look, I might give you a workhorse for that one. I mean, maybe case. You know what I mean? Yeah, I don't disagree with you there. You know what I'm saying? That could have very well been the case. The same thing with McSorley. That he could have been there just to rest my later.
Right.
Well,
and I just think
clearly McSorley was brought in because you had an injury to Hartman and Mariota, so you needed to have somebody in instead of playing Dressel almost the whole game anyway.
That's true. I mean, but you could have gave Jaden Daniels a half.
Nah.
Hell nah. Nah, I feel you on that. Nah, you don't get Jaden Daniels a half. I'm just messing around with that.
I mean, if like remember I said before any of the preseason games started, if he had difficulties or he was having a difficult time reading defenses or like similar to how Drake May was playing a little bit, even decent drive at one point, you know what I'm saying? Like I would have played him more at that point, but with what he's shown so far, I want to keep as little of that under wraps as possible until we got to play where it counts.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah. So I think that's what we got. I think we got a good take on the receivers. I think that was the receivers there. Let's go back. Sidebar. We are now back up 24 hours a day on Twitter. Just, you know what I'm saying? Just to get the fans to know, that is the page. Studio Runners 25-hour TV. Workhorse, just to let everybody know we are back live on Twitter 24 hours a day. So y'all just make sure y'all check out the Twitter page just to see what the programming going to be and how that's going to work. But yes, we are back, and we're coming back with a blue check. You know what I mean? Yes, we do got the blue check going on there. You know what I'm talking about? So shout out to everybody out there who's been rocking with us. we're trying to advance, trying to boost it up, and just tampering with some of the features with the blue check and different things. It does make a difference for anybody out there building a brand. That is might be something you want to look into. I would recommend it. I mean, just from the little bit of tampering I've been doing with it, it's worth it. I mean, already. So shout out to Twitter, man, to me getting a good product and understanding what a brand needs to get to the next level, and at least trying to offer them some sort of premium package that can get them where they trying to go.
We got to give X a workhorse.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Workhorse for that. So yeah, shout out to X, shout out to Elon Musk and everybody up there for rocking with us and really allowing the creators to create without restriction. I definitely like that about the platform. So that's one of the reasons why we chose them to be 24 hours on. So shout out to X with that one. Now, so let's go back to let's go ahead and get on back to the roster. We on tight ends, right? We on tight ends.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Right, let's get to it. Let me pull it up here.
Before you bring it up, I can go to mine already.
Yep. Okay.
Well, you can go ahead. It's up.
All right. No, if you could go, you can read them out for sure, and I'm still gonna pull them up on the shared screen regardless.
Starting tight end Zach Ertz, followed by Ben Sinnott, and we have I want to say Cole Turner.
No, Colson Yankoff.
No, yeah, excuse me. I apologize. Colson Yankoff. That was my issue. Yes. Cole Turner was cut. He's on the practice squad, and I believe Bates is gone.
They got Bates. They got Bates on the roster on the NFL.
Nah, Bates is gone. We only got 3 tight ends.
Okay.
Yes, okay, Bates is gone.
Okay. So NFL.
The only problem. This is the only tight end to get a penalty or several penalties in the preseason, or to look bad as far as getting beat by the line, is Mr. Yankoff.
And he's the one that they decided to keep.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yes.
Okay.
I didn't see any reason to, and it's not to say that he didn't do well in some areas, but his name didn't pop up in a positive way to me in any of the games that I saw.
Okay, so I guess we can go into the takes. That was Vito take. Any point, or you got more to say, Vito?
Me personally, I agree with Vito on this one as well. Garbage, but you know what? I'm gonna take a devil's advocate approach on this one, and I'm gonna say that maybe he is better than what he put on the tape. He was one of those people that started the camp, and so maybe he was competing at a higher level at other times. I do agree with you about the penalties, but let's just pray that man doesn't touch the field a lot. But I think he also plays fullback as well. So maybe his strength is a fullback more than a tight end, but he's a guy that can be interchangeable in that spot. Also, I do think the tight end position will be in the backfield, featured in the backfield time to time, because Zach Ertz was featured in the backfield with the Cardinals when Cliff Kingsbury was the coach over there. So I'm not happy about Colson Yankoff, but I'm excited about Ben Sinnott. So I mean, Ben ain't gonna let Colson Yankoff get on the field very much, buddy. I'm just being real. So I'm not too much tripping.
I feel you on that. Maybe Colson is a better blocker.
Yeah, I can't see Ben Sinnott not. What am I trying to say? I think Ben Sinnott gonna make enough plays that's gonna keep not just Colson Yankoff off the field, but Zach Ertz as well. So I think it seems like every time he get the ball, he just doing his thing, man. He running people over. He hard to bring down. And I mean, you get him in the backfield. You get him in the not in the backfield, but you get him out in the open field against a safety, man. If that safety ain't equipped to come tackle a monster, man, then he's gonna get ran over. So I
that's
mean, Benson,
why
not man. I'm super excited about the tight end position because I think Zach Ertz can teach Benson not a whole lot in a little bit of time.
that's why I was so confused about the wide receiver spot too. Now that we got to the tight ends, because I don't need to be so unsure about my or my fourth receiver when I have when I have one tight end that I'm comfortable with, and I have another tight end that's probably a lot more of a gift than I would have ever imagined. Because if I believed that they knew that they were going to get Benson, I don't think they would have signed Zach Ertz. You know what I'm saying? Not to say that they don't need Zach Ertz at all. I'm saying even more that that's double the trouble. You have a veteran that's able to find the empty hole or the soft spot in that 6'7", I believe, 6'5", and can possibly beat man coverage still and should have fresh legs from not playing. And then you have a Ben Sinai who's 6'4" and is probably built like a box truck and takes a lot to bring down. I think you keep a lot of the pressure off of your quarterback outside of the 4-down lineman. Anybody extra that comes out, you have the option of Eckler or one of the tight ends as your check down route. I think Jaden being quick on the release, it will help him out a lot during the regular season with reads, with defenses trying to do different things. Any of those safeties sneaking up and things like that. So I'm interested to see with that, but I definitely would like to see a lot of 2 tight end sets.
Imagine Jaden Daniels on one of those quick reads, and you get the ball to Benson not on one-on-one coverage. Imagine how many times he's going to break that first tackle.
Yeah, I agree with y'all with Sanat. I'm super excited with Sanat. I'm pleasantly surprised at what I saw from him. I think Chris Cooley would be the best modern day comparison. And I don't even mean I think he's better than Cooley in certain ways. But I think with just some of the plays he make, it does remind you of Chris Cooley. Guy seems to have really good hands, except the element of running people over. We didn't see that much out of Cooley. Cooley would run through a tackle here and there, though. Don't get it twisted. However, he wasn't. It wasn't like what we
Benson not a
saw.
whole different animal.
Yeah,
Bro.
it's
I
a
ain't gonna hold
different. It's a
you.
different.
Yeah,
It's a different ball game. So
he looked like he playing with children sometime when he playing against other players, man.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, that's a good look for the Skins at tight end. The person that did get cut, from my take, y'all said that Bates got cut and Turner got cut. I thought Turner played better than Yankoff, personally.
I thought both of them did. They both made crucial plays. I don't think Yankoff had a catch. I
Right.
think guys made first down catches.
No, I think Yankoff did have a catch.
I believe he had a catch.
Okay.
I believe he had a catch. But I still think that Turner had a more difficult catch. For sure. I thought Turner played good. So that one is a little bit.
I don't think Turner played good, to be honest.
Okay.
I didn't like Cole Turner to be very much.
What didn't you like?
And look, he dropped a couple passes, and he had a penalty himself, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
I think that when you get your opportunity to get on the field, what we seen with Benson Knott, you didn't have to see him catch 4 passes to know that he's going to affect the game. Okay. I think Cole Turner can affect the game if he gets open, because he seemed to have some speed with him. You know, he's pretty nimble, but I mean, I'm not impressed with either one of them. So I'm really hoping that either Yankoff shows me something that he didn't show in the film, or we go get somebody else to replace that third spot anyway.
Okay.
But right now, like I said, I'm not tripping about either one of them because I feel like Benson Knott and Zach Ertz going to be able to hold it down.
Okay, right. So Cole Turner has 7 targets, but only got 2 catches for 29 yards in this season, average of 14.5. But Colson Yankoff had 4 catches for 3 targets. 4 targets, 3 catches for 23 yards, 7.7 yards a catch. So he did, had a little bit of a better percentage on his catches versus targets.
Yeah.
And if we were to look at Bates, let me see.
And I kind of like Bates probably over both of them, Because Bates kind of showed up last year, time to time.
Bates had 2 catches, 2 targets, 20 yards. So, I mean, regardless of how they look at it, the tight ends look like they might be used a decent amount this season. The one thing I will say that I don't like about Kosin Yankoff, and this is not a personal take, I don't know him personally and nothing like that, but he's 6'4", 225 pounds.
Oh, he's 6, so he kind of small.
Your 225 is small to me for a tight end, especially your third tight end, because usually your third tight end is either Niles Paul or a blocking tight end. So either he's going to be like that sneak out kind of type,
Right.
or he's and I can't see 225 being trusted in the blocking game too much on that first level. Coming out the backfield, maybe that's not bad. So if he's at that fullback spot, that's not necessarily bad. He probably had to gain a little bit of weight. I want my fullbacks around 240 or better. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, 230, 234 wouldn't be bad. So about another 10 pounds couldn't be bad. Now again, if he's quick and can get to his blocks fast.
And we don't know if that was like his opening weight, or he probably could have added about 5 more pounds right now, give or take.
That's on ESPN. And again, they have the updated preseason stats and everything like that. So I would assume
that was his last weigh-in. But like, you don't get weighed in every single day. So what I'm saying is he give or take 5 pounds. Even with boxers, you got water weight, you got different elements of when you weigh a person. So something I do know about the weigh-ins, especially even in the NFL, they don't weigh in as often as
That
they
makes
should.
sense. That makes sense.
it's on the Commanders website too.
Yeah,
And
that's what I'm saying.
they got Forbes updated weight.
But that was the beginning of the camp, though, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. So between the beginning of camp and the last 8 weeks, he might could have put on 5 pounds naturally. That's what I'm saying. So we could get him at
That makes sense.
225.
That's
We
true.
can get him at 225.
He could have lost 5 too, though.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. We can get him at 225, but he could be as low as 220, or he could be as high as 230 right now. And if they're gonna have him at that fullback spot, I would assume they would have put a little weight on him or help him try to gain a couple pounds if he's gonna be used for blocking.
Right.
Okay, that's what the nutrition is for, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So that's what we got at the tight ends. Let's go to the offensive line. To me, this was the best group in the preseason. They played better than any other group in the preseason. That's just my opinion. So definitely want to go over them, see what we got. Now, y'all correct me. Y'all seem to have a more updated list than what I am currently looking at right here.
I can give you the list.
No. Just correct me if we'll go down this list. And this is on the NFL.com for the people watching. So we'll just go down this list, and if anything is just not updated, you guys can let me know. We got Andrew Wiley at offensive tackle, and I'm just gonna go with tackles and guards right now because I'm not even sure they've picked where people will play at, etc. So
yes, they did.
Okay, well, even if they picked it, I'll just go through it as they still have it on here. Andrew Wiley, Sam Cosmi, Tyler Biades, Nick Allegretti, Cornelius Lucas, Brandon Coleman, Trent Scott, Michael Dieter, and Chris Paul are the offensive linemen. The cuts are Ricky Stromberg, Cameron Tom, Julian Good-Jones, Brendan Daniels, Armani Taylor Prelude, and David Nuwakwa.
Only one I disagree with was Stromberg. I think Stromberg played really well in the preseason.
Yeah, he played all right. Yeah, I could agree with that. They tried to trade Stromberg. So yesterday, when the cuts was big, before the cuts was made, they tried to trade Stromberg. They tried to trade Ridgeway, who we'll talk about a little later in the pod, a little later in the podcast, probably next because the defensive line is up next. And they tried to trade Cole Turner. So I do think Stromberg did play well enough to make the team, but maybe they didn't see him playing better than Dieter or what my man called him initially, badass. So I don't see, I'm not too upset with this line, but the updated line would be Brandon Coleman looks like he's going to be the starting left tackle this year. So it won't be Lucas. It looks like it'll be Brandon
He's
Coleman.
dealing with an injury though.
Maybe.
He's
But I mean,
definitely
maybe his injury isn't going to keep him out of week one. We still almost 2 weeks away from we about 10 days out. So maybe his injury not going to keep him from off the field week one.
How do y'all
Maybe.
feel about that with Coleman starting? I'm confident in the offensive line way more than what I was before the preseason started. I think
I
them guys
yeah.
played really well.
And I'm okay if Lucas has to play, you know what I'm saying, for the first week if there's an injury there. But I'm confident right now. Right now with the combination of the Jaden Daniels' release time and him and I think part of being a quarterback and releasing the ball, promise won't be long, is knowing the plays. You can get the ball off when you know where people are supposed to be at. So as long as guys, and I think that may be also the reason for the search at wide receiver, just to make sure that guys are getting off the ball, getting off the line of scrimmage, so that the quarterback, because a lot of when Joe Montana was with the 49ers, a lot of their offense was about timing. So if guys need to be in certain spots or need to be in certain places so that they just throw a lot of interceptions based on misreads, then offensive line should do well because they only have about 2 seconds to have to block.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree, man. Like that, like the offensive line actually looks surprisingly decent this preseason. Um, does that stand up? I don't know. I will say that the first team offensive line looked pretty well, so we will see.
Absolutely, absolutely. So let's keep this moving right along down on the cuts. Down on the cuts. Defensive line. I'm just gonna read them out as they come, as they have them listed here. You guys can correct me if I am off or not updated on something. We have Jonathan Allen, Deron Payne, Johnny Newton, John Ridgeway, which of course we've talked about. He's not on the roster anymore. We
I
have
mean, it's time to talk about them. I didn't really necessarily say
Fidelji and Math. Okay, Fidelji and Mathis, Dorrance Armstrong, Cleveland Farrell, Jamin Davis, and Javante John Baptiste. Placed on the pup list is F.A. Obata. IR is Norrell Pollard and Taylor Stallworth. The cuts were KJ Henry, Andre Jones Jr., Jalen Harris, Justin Hollins, Hagai Duwasi, Benning Pateo. What y'all got on the defensive line?
Let me talk about Ridgeway real quick before we go into this. So Ridgeway did make the team, but like I said yesterday, they were trying to trade him, but today they actually got a trade for him with the New Orleans Saints. Washington will receive the 6th round pick from New Orleans.
That's a good pick. I don't know if I would trade. Go ahead. Sorry.
The Saints receive Ridgeway and a 7th round pick, so it's really a pick swap with a free player.
Got you. Now I was gonna say I liked Ridgeway, and I probably wouldn't have traded him. If I would have traded anybody, it might have been Mathis. I felt like Ridgeway outplayed Mathis, and if you're not going to keep him, and you're not going to keep him, that was a good trade with good value, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, essentially, like I was talking to the fellas a little earlier offline. I look at it like this. Right now, we're talking about number one A and 1B is Jonathan Allen and Deron Payne. Okay, they the ones. So we're gonna go behind the ones. The 2 behind the ones will be Jerzon Newton because he's a 2nd round pick and they got a lot of faith in him. And I can't wait to see him get out there and do what he do. And then behind Jerzon Newton is the fourth DT. So the 4th DT is Ridgeway and Mathis. I think they were tied for the 4th DT. I think that essentially you can get rid of one of them without it hurting the team but so much, because if Jerzon Newton pans out to be what he's supposed to be, then you only need one other DT. You only need 4 for real, in my opinion.
Okay.
But So I see why they traded Ridgeway. Hopefully Ridgeway gets on the field because I do think that, like I said, certain players played well enough to make the team, but the scope of the team, you got to think about what the scope of the team is and where they are at that specific position. And so I don't think Ridgeway moved up over Newton. If he would have moved up over Newton, that's how he stay on the team because then it's a no brainer that you're going to trade Mathis. But I think they played equally well. I think Mathis in his last game showed up big, and I think he played. Him and Ridgeway had a hell of a game, both of them. So shout out to Ridgeway. But that was the update about Ridgeway. We can talk about the rest of the D line.
Got you. What you got? I mean, was that your take? Is that your full take, or that was just an
Oh no,
update?
my
What's your
take.
take? What's your take on
No, my
defensive
take
line?
is it's a surprise to see Jamin Davis right now. He's listed as the starting the DN, and that's a bit of a surprise. I know they was working him out at DN, but did he turn a curve enough to say that he's going to be the official starting DN? That's a lot to say. So that's a bit of a surprise. I mean, I'm happy to see Jamin Davis potentially getting some love on the team, but I wonder how it goes from being a middle linebacker to being an edge to being a defensive end now. How does that affect Jamin Davis? But what that does say is that he does have the versatility of a person like a Mika Parsons. So maybe he isn't Mika Parsons yet, but maybe we can develop him into somebody like a Mika Parsons because right now he's played every position on in the front seven with the exception of D tackle.
Okay, okay,
And so I
okay.
think that's a good thing. Um, I'm not surprised to see the guys that did make it, the other guys, and I'm so happy that Jean Baptiste made it because I think I think more than
I agree
anybody
with you there.
I think he created the most pressure out of anybody this preseason. So I think he was pretty not
I
dominant, but
actually
I think
don't though. I actually don't think he created the most pressure. I think it's one other guy who created the most pressure who got cut, which was KJ Henry. That is one that I mean. I'm gonna let you fly. I'm gonna let you finish your
yeah,
take, and then I'm gonna dive into
yeah. And
my
so
bad.
that's my only problem out of this whole thing that I did think that we was going to keep KJ. I was a bit upset when we cut him, and of course I knew he wasn't going to clear waivers, so we can add him to the practice squad, and he did not clear waivers. He ended up with the Cincinnati Bengals.
See, yeah. So that was my take. I mean, I'm sorry I cut point off, but that was my take. You know, as he was talking was I'm not feeling the KJ Henry release. I am not feeling that. I felt like he was semi-dominant in the preseason. You know, they teams had trouble blocking him. And so I felt like, you know, he was the one that was brought in to, you know, essentially take the role that Chase Young had left or Montez Sweat, one of the other ones. And I thought like even last year when nobody else played well, he's the only one who really got a sack, you know. So I mean, of course you had Cameron Curl, I think had one and something like that. But I'm talking about from the defensive line. I felt like KJ Henry really showed that he could beat man on man blocking. I felt like he really showed that he was ready to roll. I'm with you on John Baptiste. I think he showed he can definitely get pressure. He's tenacious. He has a high motor. So I'm really excited about the fact that they kept him too. And of course, me being a Notre Dame fan, that is a, sweet, no bitter in it. You know what I'm saying? Two sweets for me, you know. So I'm glad to see him on the roster so he can help our team, you know, from him being from Notre Dame and me being a Notre Dame fan. So shout out to John Baptiste, and hopefully he can show some of it in the regular season of what he showed in the preseason. But the KJ Henry thing kind of bothered me. Everyone else, let me look at it and make sure I get it correct. I don't want to leave anyone out. Andre Jones Jr., I wasn't impressed. Jalen Harris, I wasn't impressed. Justin Hollins, I didn't even see on the field. Indu Bossy, I liked him, but he could have made the team. Pateo, I liked. I would have liked to see Pateo make the team. I know we can only keep so many defensive tackles though. So I think it was just a numbers game with him. However, I do think he played well, and I know he will get signed somewhere too, if not already. So that's what I got on the defensive line. Anybody got anything else, Vito, you want to chime in, or Big Son, anybody want to chime in? Just to make sure before we move it on.
I got a take about KJ Henry that I kind of slightly disagree with you.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
KJ Henry was or did, excuse me, get a few carries on the quarterback in the preseason. He did create pressure. I did like saying I was there, but the one thing that I did not like while KJ Henry was in the game was our run defense.
I got you.
Because him and Jamin were on the field a lot at the same time, but I didn't like that at all. Now, the reason why I think you would probably keep a Jamin over a KJ Henry is what Leo said, is that he's got experience now, at least with playing all of the games that he did in preseason. And I think he almost played every down, almost. Like, he was on the field a lot in the fourth quarter, third quarters, and stuff like that in the games. But he's got experience playing at every level. So even if he doesn't work out at defensive end, if linebackers are short anywhere, you can move Jamin back up to that other level. Jamin also, I believe, got a sack this preseason that just helped build confidence in that new role, whether it be against backups or not. And I think that if the running game is to suffer at all with Jamin in there, you can always rotate a little bit differently. I feel like KJ Henry, for himself, he would have been put in at a situational down. And if those situational downs would have come with running and they ran his way and he was getting beat, they would have not played him as much. And I think that that's just it's a bad situation because I don't think you really have enough. Also, I don't know if Clelin Ferrell did enough to make the team over KJ Henry if
I'm with you there.
you're using the terms of bringing pressure and, you know what I'm saying, adding something. I think Henry definitely played well on pressure downs, enough that I would have maybe given him enough, not necessarily a look. I don't know if he would have gotten a lot of time in the rotation, but based on how our defensive line has played over the last couple of seasons and just availability for certain players, it would have been nice to have that spark. Now, to add to this, the Notre Dame selection probably is why we don't have KJ Henry. The kid absolutely balled out in every red zone situation
He
that
did.
the game. And those are money downs. You cannot get any more, like, you can't show up on the film anymore in a red zone situation than being a defensive lineman. If you win your battle, you disrupt everything, you cause fast passes, you can get turnovers there, and you make stops. You stop 7, you possibly get 3, or even stop that if you can get a block or a miss. And he did that in at least 2 of the 3 games that I watched. And again, the one game that he didn't do that, he had pressures. He helped with stopping the run when teams were having big runs and stuff like that. The next plays that they try to run, he's in there on the run defense to try to help negate the big play. I just felt like he showed up on tape a lot for a 7th rounder, especially.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like, I couldn't agree with you more, man. He definitely gave us no choice but to sign him.
Sure.
He definitely gave us no choice but to sign him. So I agree with you 1,000,000%. It was was that your full take on the defensive line, or was that more of a rebuttal for what I had to say?
I'm straight for the most
Okay.
part. It's good. Ridgeway point explained the trade perfectly. I definitely agree with your take on getting a free pick for a player that you obviously were getting ready to either cut or put on the practice squad. And because you have such depth at that position, that's just essentially getting something back for nothing. Mathis, and honestly, that 6th-round pick, you probably were only going to get about that for Mathis because he hasn't played a lot during it because of injury and because that's one of the best positions on your defense. It's hard for him to get a lot of time. I will say that this preseason is the most that I've seen him during the preseason, even during the Ron Rivera era. And even then when he got in, this is the most impactful that I felt like he's played in the little bit of time that he's gotten. So if we can get that Tim Settle-esque
type of performance from Matt this year to just show up when you're in the game and do your job. I think he can at least play well in the role that he's given. Uh, he's still under rookie contract, so you also save money on any veteran fees right there with the Ridgeway, who's probably a veteran at this point. If not a veteran, you're still looking at possibly having to at least give him a little bit more money than Mathis because this would be his second contract. If you brought him back on. Um, and like I said, this is just one of those ways of keeping some of the Rivera guys in the building. Not to say that all Rivera picks are trash, but hey, if the guys that are good, we're going to keep them. The guys that we don't feel are good, we're going to get rid of them early instead of holding on to them and give those guys a chance to do something somewhere else. But just try to make this team have its own makeup so some of the players aren't holding on to it.
Absolutely, absolutely. So that was a good look to me when it comes to certain. But again, Dan Quinn and them. One thing I will say, despite all the moves you keep, you let go, whatever the case may be, only thing I want Redskin fans to do throughout this is make sure we holding people accountable. Y'all making these decisions, you're keeping these guys over this guy, this, that, and the other. Again, we commentate these games, we watch them. Y'all watch them. Some stuff makes sense, some stuff don't. So just hold the front office accountable like you held Daniel Snyder accountable.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. Y'all
More
had
or
nothing to
more.
say about him. Or go ahead, my bad, Vito.
No, I said more because we didn't.
Right. Right, I totally agree. Now let's go to the linebackers. This also should be very interesting. I think this is going to be one of our strongest groups throughout the season. For the whole team throughout the season. I think these guys really are going to be the fabric of what makes up the defense. So let's run them down. Bobby Wagner, Frank Louvu, Dante Fowler, Makai Walker, Dominique Hampton. Jordan McGee will be placed on IR. Chappelle Russell and Anthony Pittman were cut. What you got on the linebackers?
I don't like it. I don't like it. I love Bobby Wagner. I don't like Dante Fowler on the second level over Jamin Davis.
I agree with you there.
Automatically. And I'm basing
I
this on
agree with you.
Hey, hold on. Let me explain this. From what I've heard, right, that we will be using a 4-3 over or a 4-3 under, and the 4-3 over and under both have like that fifth, looks like a fifth lineman, but that fifth lineman is usually a like a edge rusher. So more than likely, Fowler's going to be in our system. He's listed as a linebacker, but he'll be playing on the line a lot of those downs.
okay. So remember when Jamin Davis defense Ron Rivera, he's not always set in the back half of the defense. Sometimes he's on the edge. Jamin doesn't play well from that position. He plays better being able to see the field. I've said this since we drafted him. The reason why he was so good in pass coverage was because he was playing on the top deck. He never played on the bottom deck. I ain't gonna say never, but he had more success on the top deck than the bottom deck. And that's just on the ball, off the ball, front seven, top half of the mid linebackers for anybody with football jargon. I'm sorry, my coaching stuff comes over me sometimes, but nonetheless, Jamin had more success to me in those roles. Fowler, on the other hand, is a good edge rusher, but what about the times that he has to drop back in coverage? What about plays that happen with misdirection? And I'm giving fans who are abreast of the Commanders or the Washington football team's old rosters, but does anybody remember Kevin Pierre-Louis?
Yeah, yeah. I would say that in that situation, jamming is going to be something like how they use Mika Parsons, I believe, where they move them around a bit. And so I think that in those settings, he will be the person to drop back, not Fowler, if that makes any sense. Now, if the offense flipped the play, then Fowler got to go up and drop in the coverage, then that's what it is. But in that situation, I think that Fowler's only listed as a linebacker because of the way that we're going to run our defense.
Okay. Again, I have to see it, but just to me, I feel like Kevin Pierre Lewis could get caught in those situations. I mean, excuse me, Fowler could get caught in those situations like that
I'm with Vito.
because of his tendency to rush the passer. So what if you got a lot of different design play actions now, a lot of read plays where they key in on the guy that's rushing. If your tendency is always to rush in and make the play, your read might not necessarily be better. And I actually think that Jamin may be better in that situation. And again, we don't know the play. I'm not trying to assume or make the play so it fits my verbiage. I'm just saying that that's an interesting take for me at the linebacker spot. I also Dominique Hampton, a safety with Washington, your 7th-round draft pick, going to linebacker. I didn't see anything in the preseason with him being close to the ball that gave me confidence that that's a good spot for him to go at. And I do also know that they want to play a 3 safety defense on passing downs in certain situations. But right now you have Forrest and Martin, and then you also have Chin, and then you also have Jeremy Reeves, who's backing up Jaquan Martin. So I'm not sure where Hampton could have went, because I think Hampton should have tried to, well, not tried, but at least been placed behind Quan Martin if Quan Martin's your starting free safety. Because now you've forced Forrest back with Chin, or to back up Chin. And I don't know. I would have probably went
Hey,
Chin or Forrest at linebacker than Dominic Hampton, just in my opinion.
okay, so Vito, you got Madden. Is your Madden up right now?
I can turn it on. If you give me a couple seconds, I can do that.
All right, could you check Dominique Hampton's speed for me?
1 second.
Because if he's at linebacker at like an 88, 89 speed, I think that might be a win in pass coverage. However, I agree with you 1,000,000% on Fowler. That Hampton comment had nothing to do with the point that you made on Fowler. I wouldn't even have listed Fowler as a linebacker personally. He's a much better pass rusher than Jamin Davis, in my opinion. But I think Jamin Davis is a good pass rusher, an up and coming pass rusher, and he could possibly make plays this season at pass rusher. However, I think that he's better in coverage than Fowler. And so I just think that if you're right, I think that should have been a swap. Even if you're going to play Davis on the line much more than what you played them, why not just list him as a linebacker anyway? So I mean, maybe that's what, who knows? The starting line, I mean, I don't know what the starting defensive front is going to be. I mean, we know Allen and Payne. We know, what is it, Davis? Is Davis the third pass rusher now? Or is it Farrell? Farrell didn't show us much of anything in the preseason.
I think it might be Davis. I mean, the way that Dan Quinn was talking about how he's made strides in that position.
So you're relying on Jamin Davis, a guy who's never played the position, to be your third pass rusher, especially in an area where we struggled last year after Chase Young and Montez Sweat left the building. I think it's risky.
I mean, he's going up in practice. It's not like they haven't seen enough of him. I think Jamin's going to do great at pass. I think he's going to do great at edge.
I never said he wasn't going to do great. I said it's risky. He's never played the position before. You got Allen and Payne. Yes, they do get good pressure from the middle. Yes, they do wreak havoc. But we've seen what that defense looks like without some significant pass rush. Remember, even before Chase Young and Montez Sweat came, we had a little bit of struggle with the pass rush. So I just think it's risky. We did not have a Jamin Davis before Montez Sweat and Chase Young, though.
No, we didn't.
And we also didn't have a Dan Quinn either.
So you do got some pieces that you didn't have. You didn't have a Frankie Louisville. So the linebackers could, the other guys
Bobby Wagner.
Yeah, the other guys can get you something that you did not have. You have more pieces. That I won't deny. But if y'all are depending on Jamin Davis to be a third pass rusher in a defense where your first two pass rushers are your tackle, which means you're going to really need that third pass rusher, I think it's a little risky because he's never played the position before. You don't know how good or bad he's going to be.
I mean, yeah, but I mean, you know what you got though. Sometime, bro.
Do you know what we got in Jamin Davis at defensive end? Do you know? What do you think we got?
I think he's gonna be a beast. I think he's gonna have at least 8 sacks, something like that, or better.
You got him having 8 sacks?
Yeah, around 8.
Okay.
You said want Dominic Hampton's speed.
Yes.
His speed is he's a linebacker with us. Dominic Hampton. I gotta change the position. I got him at safety. His speed is a 91.
Woo. He might do well there. What did I say? If he's a 90-91, you might got something at linebacker. So the boy can run. You got somebody who can run there. But now it makes me think of the possibilities you would have had if you had him and Jamin Davis, because Jamin Davis can run too. So if you had both of them at linebacker with Bobby Wagner, boy, and Frankie Louisville, I don't know. We should be running a 3-4.
Dominic Hampton is only 220. So again,
okay.
Some of my concern is not
Okay.
the players at all. It's, are you moving them too soon? Are you forcing players to positions just to keep them on the team?
Okay.
They're just questions that I have, especially when you've played them in certain spots in the preseason where I'm not necessarily sure how that works in a rotation. Like, who does Dominique Hampton go in for at linebacker and when? And like, give me a scenario where it's like, all right, let's sub in Dominique right here. Or do we?
I think on passing downs, I think on passing downs.
Yeah, something like Landon Collins was playing.
So what are you doing with your safeties on that play?
Like they're playing.
Well, that's why you got 2 good safeties. So you can have him be Landon Collins essentially on the field as a linebacker and still have your safeties up at top.
I think they would play deep. They would play, split. You would split, go double safety deep. They'll play deep, play the back end in a cover 3 or whatever it is you running.
So are you taking Louvu or Bobby Wagner off the field for that?
I think Wagner should play the middle. I think he should be the middle. I think you would bring Hampton in and play beside Wagner. I would take Louvu. If it was me, I'd put him at end and take him and Davis at end and have Allen and Payne in the middle, or Allen by itself, or Payne by itself, and have Davis and Louvu on the outside. That's me.
You talking about the linebacker?
Yeah, at defensive end, because you talk about in some sort of nickel set, right?
Okay, I mean, all right, that's where you would have Hampton at linebacker, though, right?
Yeah, I would have Hampton at linebacker with Wagner. I would never, honestly, for me, but Wagner's a little older, so maybe you don't want to do this. They might not do this, but for me, with his experience, I definitely want Wagner in there on passing downs, if nothing else.
Yeah, no, I want him on the field because you're going to help everybody know where they need to be at.
Yeah, he's going to play most of the downs. He's going to probably play the most downs out of anybody on the team. He's probably never going to come off the field.
But the problem with that is he's older now. So do you want to do that to him, especially early in the season?
Bruh, he is. Bruh,
it doesn't matter. He's still older.
Bruh, we talking about elite athletes, bruh. It's not the same thing.
I don't know. I wouldn't do it like that. I wouldn't do that. I would want him in on the more important down.
He's like 34, bro. He's not like he's not like 40 or nothing.
Remember when we had another linebacker in there that's currently not on the team, and we was the defense in the NFL?
I'm not disputing that, right? But you should have.
Talking about Cody Barton?
Yeah,
Yeah, Barton was terrible though. Barton was terrible. Even if I put Louisville, even if I took Louisville and put him in sometimes at in a set like that, put Louisville and Hampton.
he's taking away your pass
That's
rusher.
what I think. That's what Jordan McGee is. I think he's going to learn that spot. So I think that once Jordan McGee come back, then I think
He's
they're
on
going to start bringing him off the field a little bit.
yeah, but he's on IR right now.
Yeah, but they say he's only going to be out for like 4 to 6 weeks. So like the first quarter of the season, Bobby going to have to hold it down. But that's good for somebody that's Bobby's
I
age.
don't
You know
know,
what I mean?
man. Yeah, a guy who has mileage like that. For me, I want him like more third downs, this, that, and the other. I would went in on downs where I could get him off the
When do you
field.
take your defensive play caller off the field, bro? Do you take your quarterback off the field?
He,
When do you take Ray Lewis off the field, bro?
Yeah,
Ray
that's
Lewis,
what I'm
if y'all
saying.
remember, and you know what happened with Ray Lewis, right? You remember what happened with Ray Lewis? That Super Bowl, that last Super Bowl season, he tore his tricep. He tore his tricep on the tackle. He had to sit out the first 6 weeks. Then he came back after that 6 weeks. He was super fresh. They ran the table. So
Bro,
a fresh Bobby Wagner
Yeah,
benefits the team.
that's the botanical. That's the mechanical arm right there.
Yeah, y'all remember. Y'all know what I'm talking about.
Bro, they gave that nigga an arm, bro. He was out there like Winter Soldier, bro.
Yeah, but he still sat out 6 weeks. He sat out 6 weeks of that season and
He's
came back fresh. You want Bobby Wagner fresh on the back end of your season.
saying for a player that has not played, I mean, that's not injured to sit out. That doesn't make any sense. Ray Lewis got injured. Bobby Wagner is healthy.
No, I'm not saying no. I'm saying late in his season, later in your career, it's easier to catch those types of things. I'm more of a get him early sort of a guy.
This
So
game, this team is trying to tank. So ain't no way they start off the season not playing Bobby Wagner.
I didn't say not play him. I didn't say not play him. I never said don't play him. I said don't run him in the ground is what I'm saying.
Every play you take him off the field, I'm a score. That's how
Not true. I don't think this defense. I don't think that every play Bobby Wagner's not on the field, a team's going to score on them. I would hope that's not the case.
I'm looking at making I'm gonna look at this team as the same team as the team from last year.
I would hope that's not the case.
Because if you don't got Bobby at inside, you put Luvu at the middle. If you
Yes, I could throw Luvu there.
Bruh, do you take your quarterback off of the field, bruh? That doesn't make any sense.
I don't think
he call the plays.
Yeah, he does call the plays. However, I just don't think. I think that's a little bit too much dependency on Bobby Wagner. I think you should have someone else that can come in and give you high quality work at middle linebacker.
Cody Barton.
That's not Cody Barton though. He wasn't good. You had Frankie Louisville. Frankie Louisville played what position did he play at Carolina?
Outside linebacker.
Okay, so he wasn't in the middle. Who's your backup middle? Who's the backup middle?
The backup middle is 2 seconds. Backup middle is Jordan McGee.
Oh, and he's on IR, so they need to figure something out then.
That's why I said what I said. Your man will be fine in the beginning of the season. This is a professional. He's an all-pro. We're not talking about a regular person. This is 38-year-old LeBron, bro. This is not.
I get it, right? But even LeBron takes his time. Even LeBron
plays 30 minutes a game. What time are you talking about?
That's what I'm saying. He takes 30 minutes a game. We talking about in a 48-minute game. He takes off a quarter of the game.
He's 40 years old.
I'm not disputing he's older than Wagner. I'm just saying
he led the league in minutes at 36.
I get it. I'm not saying that he shouldn't. I'm just saying that I don't want to run Bobby Wagner in the ground too early. I want Wagner fresh in the playoffs. He's going to be one of the players that I know I'm going to have to depend on late in the season.
You think Bobby?
I want him as fresh as possible. I'm not saying don't play him. I'm not saying I'm saying you want him as fresh as you could possibly have him late in the season. That will be a benefit to you. That is strategy.
I'm gonna look at how many downs you took off last year.
You know, that's all I'm saying. Again, everybody's different. If it was me,
I'm saying, bro, he's your quarterback, bro. And if anything, bro, you got to keep your quarterback on the field.
But if it was me, I would I would coach for championships, right? So I'm coaching to try to make a run in the playoffs so you can sneak up on a ring. That's me. That's how I would coach every season. I'm gearing up for a Super Bowl every season. So for me, certain players I know they're going to be factors late in the season. I want them on the field. So me, I prepare early and say, hey, let's play him. But whenever we can get him off the field and get him a breather, let's do that. And get him some time on the sideline, let's do that. Why? Because we might need him in the playoffs. This is already a 17-game season. It's already a 17-game season. So you talking about the playoffs, about 18, 19. We're talking about 20 games. So if you're preparing for that, I don't know that that's what they're doing.
Bro, what I'm saying is that he will get his rest when we are like, if we are dominating the game, we way up. Then of
That's
course he
all I'm
gonna get
saying.
some
Wherever
rest.
you can get it at,
Yeah, I
because
mean,
he's
but
older. Like, let's not. We know he's good. He's durable. He's never been hurt. Well, we know all of these things. Don't mean you got to run him in the ground.
but you know that's how
Bobby
starters work,
Bobby
bro.
Wagner has not missed any games in his entire career.
Right, right. But that don't mean you got to run him in the ground.
He has not missed any games in his entire career.
So should we run him in the ground because of that?
I think he's built for it. It is
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I've been saying
I'm
the
not
whole
saying
time.
if you up 45-14, you still play Bobby Wagner. Like you
No,
don't have to. But if you
That's what
if,
I'm just
if
right.
it's
I
10
think
points or less, Cody Barton played every game. He was horrible. Okay, he wasn't subbed out because of a breather. He was subbed out because he was either injured or playing like trash.
he
All
was
right.
bad. He was all
Bobby
bad.
Wagner, as long as he's healthy, is going to be on the field. Now, if he is injured at all and has to take a week off or a couple of weeks off, then yes, Louvu probably will go to the middle because that's who Bobby likes. So I'm sure that he trusts him the most to be able to call the defensive plays. But the captain's still going to be Jonathan Allen if he's not in the game. That's not going to be who calls the plays, but it's the captain. So we'll have somebody that'll be able to control the huddle at times and things like that if Bobby Wagner is not in the game. But I don't see him not playing, bro. I don't see him not like taking the whole drive off. Like I don't see it happening unless we up by enough points that makes sense.
right,
Yeah,
right. I'm saying you just want to preserve your guys for the more important stuff. It's selective. That's what I'm saying. Be selective, be strategic. That's it. I'm not, again, you guys are right. 1,000,000%. You want Bobby Wagner on the team. You want him to build the chemistry with the new defense. You want him to do all the X, Y, and Z. I agree 1,000,000%. I agree. However, I also want to make sure that we got him around toward the end of the season. I know he's never missed a game in his career. We want to keep it that way, you know. So let's move on to the cornerbacks. Cornerbacks, this is where I'm scared for me. So let's read them off, and then I'll give my take. Mike Sanders-Strill. You got Emmanuel Forbes, Benjamin St. Juice, Michael Davis, and Noah Mbagwe. Cuts. Oniism. I don't know how to say his first name, so I'm just gonna say Oniism. Anuzum was cut.
Newsroom, I believe.
Anusium was cut. Nick Whiteside was cut. AJ Woods cut.
Thank God.
Caillou Blue Kelly cut. James Pierre also cut. And Tyreek Castro Fields was cut. What do you guys got on the cornerbacks?
I think this is one of our levels of concern because we have this been probably one of our weak spots throughout the last 2 years. Because we're looking at it like a weak spot because I don't think that we've done a whole lot. We didn't go get a shutdown corner. I'm gonna say that. I ain't gonna say we haven't done a whole lot. I'm gonna say we didn't go get a shutdown corner, and maybe this is where Joe Wick can show his value at being a defensive coordinator because he is a secondary coach. Maybe he can develop Forbes because he's developed over the last 2 years the person with the most interceptions in the league. Diggs 1 year, and then the next year it was Deron Bland, and Deron Bland had the most pick sixes as well last year. So hopefully Forbes can develop into something. Forbes can develop into something like that. So I do have a level of concern. Uh, Benjamin St. Juice, man, look, you have been getting burnt up for us for years now. You can't do it no more this year, bro. You can't do it no more this year. Them fade routes have been killing you over and over and over again. This year, it's got to stop, man.
I
But
agree with you.
maybe Michael Davis, um, maybe Michael Davis shows us that he can lock something up. But I'm really happy about the slot position. I think that was one of we. I think we had two really big major steals in the draft, and potentially three, or maybe even four if you add Baptiste. But I feel like Sanderson was probably the top steal in the draft that we've had. I mean, him or Sanat, I think one or two, one of them or the other one. So I'm really excited to see that the inside of the field is going to be played. I feel like at a very high level. So not as scared as some people may. So you're going to have to beat us on the outside, and those guys going to have to step up.
Absolutely. 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 What you got, Vito, on the cornerbacks?
That room sucks. I do got a little bit of faith in Emmanuel Forbes. I like his approach to the offseason, knowing that he was too small, doing something on your own about it instead of having the team coach you to it. In the preseason, in the from the 20 to the 20, he did a good job. I can't really say that he did bad while starting at that position at that time. And in the red zone, you need help, my boy. Either safety help or you need to call out help, like a robber robbing a bank in the middle of traffic with people standing outside with money, because the kid can't cover anybody when the end zone is behind him, and that's just bad at that particular part. Especially with what everything went on last year, you can't have that be the same thing that you reminded of this year. Your fans won't let you forget that, neither will we. Michael Davis, I am I'm I'm with Rowe with the pass rush, because neither one of your corners, St. Juice or Michael Davis, and if you start with Emmanuel Forbes, you've got some speed there. But if he's getting beat by the size, like we've been talking about at wide receiver, it may be hard for him to win all of those battles. Some okay, but all of those battles it may be hard to win. Michael Davis and St. Juice aren't that fast, so they'll have to, in my opinion, play somewhat of the Richard Sherman role, and I think that role only makes sense or is viable when you have some sort of pass rush. So our pass rush is going to be very important for quarterbacks to try to make those what would look like open reads, and our defense is going to have to play just as fast as our coaches have talked about it to make that work. If not, you're leaving the cornerbacks out on an island again another season in a row, and you don't want that big play to take away momentum from games that you could be in or winning.
Okay.
Not to mention that I didn't like the room coming into the season. Mike Sanders still has been a joy to watch in the preseason, though.
Yes. Yes.
Not only that, outside of the high praises from other journalists and other analysts, but
And Nick, now you
and
can't say this without saying my man Nick, because he started this whole thing off.
and Nick Saban, but Nick Saban would say that because he also recruited the young man and couldn't get him. And to see them win a national championship, and actually to see him stay there all 4 years is also like, I mean, 3 years is just like crazy. You know what I'm saying? So, um, and his ability to transfer the college game, where they played a lot of the same defenses that you would run in a professional scenario, in scenarios that you would run against offenses that would be run in the NFL. I think you got one of the more ready to play day one cornerbacks. And because he's a somewhat of a master, at least this is what, journalists have said and what's been shown on film. If he's a master at this slot spot, And again, I'm sorry for being so long winded, but you know how I explain things, guys. Imagine being on the island on Revis Island. That's on the outside. There's a lot more real estate everywhere else. But if you can take away a team's slack cornerback, it takes away their ability to work the middle of the field. It takes away their ability to work the sideline against number 3 cornerbacks, which is usually teams' worst cornerback. If our best cornerback is our slack guy who's not moving from the outside to follow a guy inside, then we're now putting our best guy up against the CD Lambs, up against the AJ Browns, up against the Stephon Diggs or the Jamar Chases when they're put in those slot situations. And if our coaches that have coached defense and also coach cornerback have the confidence that this guy is like lights ahead of where he should be right now, I'm confident that he can make the plays that we need him to make throughout the year.
No, I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm with you. For me, I'm very concerned about this group. Mike Sanistrio, though, I think is really good. I think he's really good in run support. I think he sees plays fast. He reacts fast. He gets to the ball fast. I think he'll make plays this year. I mean, he's going to make a lot of plays this year. He does remind me of Darryl Green. He reminds me a lot of Darryl Green. I don't know that he has Darryl Green's speed. I'm not sure how fast he is now. So I'm not going to say on that front. But the way he sees the field, he does remind me of Darryl Green.
He's got the most. Saint Forbes is our fastest cornerback at a 94. Got 95 acceleration.
Okay.
And Sandra still has a 90 speed, but he has a 94 acceleration, 94 agility, which is the highest of the cornerbacks. His change of direction is the highest of the cornerbacks, and his catching is second to Forbes with the 78. Forbes is an 80. Let me see.
80. That's a receiver.
Yeah. His jumping, he's the highest jumping cornerback we have. Him and Nia Ingleby are the highest jumpers we got with 93s. And his tackling is a 57, which is fourth. 1, 2, 3. It's fourth behind Pierre, which is crazy. But Pierre's probably gonna be cut. Michael Davis and St. Juice, and then Sandra still is the next best tackler. He has the highest hit power of all the cornerbacks. He has the fourth highest block shedding of cornerbacks. His pursuit is third of all cornerbacks. His play recognition is third is fourth behind Forbes.
I disagree with that. I think Madden got it wrong there.
Well, this is before he's played. This is not on my not on the franchise with the preseason already played something. Okay. You know, ratings go up week to week type stuff.
Yeah. But his play recognition, I think is top notch. I was highly impressed by that. So whenever they do update it, watch how that go up for all the Madden players.
He's got the third best.
He's still a rookie, bro. So he hasn't played a game in the NFL yet. So
he's got the third best man coverage, and he has the second best. He's tied for second best zone coverage.
Okay, so yeah, I'm big on Sanistrio, right? Manuel Forbes, he struggled, man. Like, you know, he struggled. I think Emmanuel Forbes. I don't know what's the problem. It's rare for me to say I don't know what's going on with a player, because I normally you can see what's going on with his eyes. I'm going to really maybe dive down and do some maybe film work on Emmanuel Forbes to figure out what is happening with him, and especially in the red zone. Maybe it's the play calling. Maybe a defensive coordinator hasn't figured out how to best place him, but his build is much like Richard Sherman's, like how he's built physically. So I think that Dan Quinn should be able to understand how to use him. And so I'm just going to bet that throughout the season, Forbes gets better. The guy they just signed a corner, did the Skins sign a corner today? I believe they signed one. He was 6'3" or something, 6'2". Hold on, let me see if I can get this who was signed. Um, let me see. No, I guess we didn't sign a corner today. I thought we did. I thought I saw that news that we signed a corner, but I guess we didn't. Um, so yeah, I just feel like with I think Forbes will get better throughout the season. St. Juice, I feel like it ain't no hope. I'm gonna keep it real. And I know it seemed like I'm picking on St. Juice. I'm really not. But y'all know how I felt about his eyes and certain things fundamentally when we first drafted him. I've expressed this from day one. So I thought he should have been cut. Y'all know I said that throughout the season. So that's just my take on St. Juice. I hope he's not starting. I hope he's not. I would start Forbes before I started St. Juice. That's
Yeah,
me.
Forbes is probably going to start. St. Juice not even listed as a starter right now.
Okay. So I wouldn't yeah, St. Juice couldn't start for my team. And it's not unless he just played better. And so it's not knocking him, unless I felt like he played better as a person who would be choosing personnel and depth chart. So that's just my take on it. Michael Davis, I haven't seen enough of him to really judge. I haven't seen enough of him. So I'm just gonna abstain. I'm gonna abstain from that vote right there. Noah and how okay. Obaniah, that's how you say his name. I forget it because but it's Obaniah, I believe. So Noah Obaniah, let me see. I don't know. I haven't seen enough of him either. So I don't know what to say in regards to him. As far as the people that were cut, Nick Whiteside, I'm glad. I mean, not to say I hate to say it like that, but man, yeah, he was for me, I would have cut him. James Pierre, we've all talked about him. His reviews have not been positive. Um, Tariq Castro Fields.
That's to
I
say the
thought he
least,
played.
bro. That's to
Huh?
say the least, bro. That's to say the least about Pierre.
Yeah. His reviews haven't been positive at all. So I think that was justified. Tariq Castro Fields, he's a wild card for me because I saw him get better. I saw him get better. He was really bad over the last couple years. This year, he was bad, I think, in the Jets game.
He got signed to the Panthers today.
Okay, so that's why he got signed because someone else, the Panthers obviously saw he got better too. So that's why I said I was on the fence about him. But that's really my take on AJ Woods was getting lit up. Anuzium, I don't know. He didn't seem to get lit up. What y'all think about Anuzium?
He wasn't as
He's on the practice
impressive,
squad.
though.
He's
He's
on the
on the
practice squad. Yeah.
Okay, so what did you say, Vito?
Nah, I say I wasn't as impressed by him, but he didn't play like bad enough. He didn't stick out on film as bad.
Right. Right. Okay. So yeah, that was really my take on him. He didn't really give us nothing to say bad, negatively about him or positively, if that makes any sense. Like he didn't shoot out on film. I guess he made the plays he was supposed to make somewhat, fit into the defense. So I guess that's why he got signed to the practice squad. They might have to want to see more of him. So we'll move on to the next safeties. Okay, this is another one that's going to be interesting. You got Jeremy Chin, Jartavius Martin, Squan Martin, Derek Force, Percy Butler, Jeremy Reeves, and Tyler Owens makes the team. Makes the team. Yes, indeed. Cuts. Sheldrick, Redwin, and Kendall Brooks were cut. What y'all got on the safeties?
You
I'm all
want
right.
to go, V? Or
I said I'm all right with the safeties. Like I say, outside of Hampton not being one of them, where I think he could have fit up there, and maybe you could have kept a KJ Henry for an edge rusher or another linebacker. I don't mind the safeties right now.
I am actually thinking that this is probably our strongest position. I think that we got really good safeties. I'm gonna be honest. Tyler Owens was somebody I was very big on late in the preseason. He jumped out on tape, and I just been watching him since. And I'm just very impressed with his tenacity, the way that he attacks. He is the type of player that I think that they want on the team. He
Should he
don't mind
start?
playing
Should he
special
start?
teams. No, he wouldn't start right now because he's a rookie. And I feel like I said, this is the strongest position group. We got Chin, we got Force, we got Quan Martin, and we got Tyler Owens, and we got Jeremy Reeves.
So it's
So,
better than the defensive line
I would say yeah. I would
with
say
two Pro
yeah.
Bowlers. Defensive line got two Pro Bowlers.
Um, I would yeah, but you talking about 4 defensive linemen, okay? So that's like 50% potential Pro Bowl, right? I think that this safety group is going to surprise a lot of people this year.
How many
I
Pro
think
Bowlers? They sent it to
uh
the Pro Bowl.
what this year?
Yep.
I think one. I think
So how they better than the defensive line then?
well, I don't know if both of the defensive tackles go to the Pro Bowl this year,
That's real.
but I would
So
say
who
that
don't go there?
I could see one of our safeties potentially going to the Pro Bowl. But I'm just saying talent wise, when I say best, position group, because I think talent wise, like even the backups can start. If don't get me wrong, I don't know if Tyler Owens is starter level yet, but think about if Tyler Owens and Force was back there, you're not as scared as some of the other positions. You take away them starters and a lot of them other positions, and now you kind of questioning it a little bit. Okay, if we had like Jerzon Newton and Fedarian Mathis in the middle, we'd have we'd be like, all right, Mathis all right, but is he start? You know what I'm saying? And so that's what I think about strength in that position group right there. And Jeremy Reeves is a Pro Bowler, so they do have a Pro Bowler back there actually. Jeremy
Reeves
Reeves
is
is
a Pro
definitely a
Bowler.
Pro
You're
Bowler.
right. Reeves is a Pro Bowler. I can't
Yes.
deny that. Reeves is a Pro Bowler. You know, gotta give credit where credit is due. The man is a Pro Bowler. Vito, what you got
Well, for the safeties,
for the safeties? Oh yeah, you said you okay with it.
yeah, I'm okay with them.
All right. So for me, um, I
I
like this group.
think they're the best group though. I think it's still uncertainty there too. Quan Martin is a very good cover guy. He can do a lot of what you ask him in coverage. It's it's really important to see what they do with Chin and how that 3 safety formation looks.
Why y'all so confident in Chin? What has he done that made you guys super confident?
No, that's what I just said. I said
Okay.
that you need to see. I know what you got with Quan Martin. I know what you got
Right.
with Jeremy Reeves on special teams.
Right.
I know what you got with Force because I've seen
Yeah.
him play. I
Yeah.
don't know what you got with Chen. And if Force is not starting, you got to see something in Chen that we haven't seen yet because he hasn't had to play that much.
Do you think it was a mistake not giving him more playing time in the preseason?
Yeah.
All right, look, Jeremy Chin. Let's read off some stuff about Jeremy Chin, man. Right now, right? So Jeremy Chin is 6'3", 220 pounds. He has in his career, um, he has a total of 300. It looks like 324 tackles. 2020 was his best tackling year. Um, and that was a couple years ago. Last year, it looks like he was hurt last year, but he's never had less than 70 tackles. He's gotten a sack in almost every year he's played. He didn't get an interception over the last 2 years, but I mean, realistically, when you look at his stats, you see that that's production on the field at that position. And he's a hitter. He's somebody that takes the game seriously. Honestly, I think Louisville might have been the best player on the Panthers defense last year, but I think Jeremy Chin might have been the maybe second or third potentially. So
So
I'm
because of
I'm pretty
last year, you're saying he's going to be good here.
No, I'm saying the fact that he has 300 career tackles, 4 sacks, and 2 interceptions over a 4-year career, which is pretty good. That's almost 100 tackles. I mean, it's almost 70 tackles a year. And one year, last year, he only had 30 tackles because he was hurt.
So why is he not in the linebacker spot as that extra linebacker? Because it seems like tackling is his specialty. He doesn't seem to make a lot of turnovers on the backside of the football. So why not have him as the Landon Collins sort of a role? And
Well, I
I
think he will be. I think he will be a little bit of that. You know what I mean? I think that it's going to be. Um, I think that it's going to be a mixture. Like they specifically said that they're not going to have the same normal 11 starters. There, it's more like 16. So if you're gonna have 16 starters, you looking at Jerzon Newton being one of those guys. You're looking at Forrest being one of those guys. You're looking at maybe either Mike Davis or what's his name, St. Juice to be one of those guys. You know, so you those are three guys that's on the defensive side of the ball right there. That's going to be labeled like a starter.
okay, okay.
So what I just want to see what they do because that I've been listening to everything that they've been saying, especially on the defensive side of the ball, because these are defensive coaches. And while they haven't given away any secret sauce, they have given away hints that this is going to be a ever changing defense. It's going to be a defense that you play this set and you play this set. You get what I'm saying? And if we can do that, it's going to be pretty dangerous.
Do you give Forbes a couple reps at safety?
Forbes, hell no. I look like I said. I think that that's one of the best groups we got. To be honest, I think Jeremy Chin even could get in and play some safety. He's not a
I want to
liability
see
at safety.
Forbes in. I want to see Forbes in the center field position on the cover three. I think he'd be great, man. I think with his skill set, he plays better with his back to the end zone. That's why he struggles in the red zone because he's doing a lot of face guarding. I think he struggles in face guarding because he's tall and lanky. I think it takes away from his ability to use his height and his instincts when he can't see the ball.
I mean, I would say that, but I think that he's not the best tackler, and I think that's why
You
Quan
can fix
Martin.
that.
Yeah, I think that's why Quan Martin potentially is a really good pick there because I feel like Quan Martin is a lot more sure of a tackler. He didn't take the best angles. I would say at first, but from what they say, he's developed a whole lot, and so him and Forrest and all of those guys. I mean, you know, I think we got a really good safety room. I'm not sure about the corners.
I like Quan Martin. I like Quan Martin as a cover guy. I think he's really good man on man coverage. I think, that I think he's one of our better man on man cover guys that, one of the better man on man cover guys that we have. He can face guard. He could do all of those different things. So I would like to see him more in the slot type of role. Him and Sandstreal, I think would be money. It'll be hard to get passes off to your third and fourth receiver if you got to go against Quan Martin and Mike Sandstreet,
Well, see,
in
this is
my
the thing.
opinion.
What if Quan Martin is that guy? What if they making him a free safety to where he's going to pick up one of those tight ends? So he's going to pick up that fullback out the backfield, or he's going to pick up one of those people. So I think, and then you still got Forrest and Chin back there, which I think is going to be dominant. You know what I mean? Not dominant, but I really like Forrest, and I'm so glad that they didn't let go of both of our safeties because I was a little hurt about Cam Curl until we got Jeremy Chin, and I was like, all right, well, I guess that's a good trade off, you know.
I agree. I definitely agree. So yeah, that was my take on the safeties. Let's move straight along. Keep it moving. Oh, we didn't talk about Percy Butler. What y'all got on Percy Butler?
I don't think he should have made the team, but I mean, it is what it is.
I like to see Percy Butler around the line of scrimmage rushing the cornerback. I think you bring him on corner blitzes, you allow him to use his instincts and his speed. And boy, Percy Butler got some speed on him. So I think you allow him to use what he's best at, which is, I think he has a fast first step. I think he plays with a lot of passion, and I think he can hit. So I would like to see him rush the passer a couple when they do them corner blitzes. I would like to see Percy Butler in that role a little bit. And I like Tyler Owens. Um, Specialists, you got Cade York, the kicker, Tress Way, and Tyler Ott is the long snapper. Nobody was cut from that position. So, yeah, what y'all got on the special teams? Anybody?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah. Me personally, I think that the special teams. Um, of course, I'm gonna start out with my man. Trust the right way, the only way, the good way. You know what I mean. Trust way is. I'm happy about that. Of course, making the team like he should be always. Uh, Sorry that he changed his number, but I think he's rocking a number 10. So shout out to number 10 this year, Tress. Okay. Uh, Tyler Ott. I mean, he's been on the team, I believe, for 2 years now or something like that. So, I mean, I guess they got a good rapport between snapper and kicker and holder. Snapper and holder, which is him and Tress. And now you add York. I think York has a power in his leg, and he did what he was supposed to do: come on the field and make field goals. So it's not too much to say about York yet. I would like to see if his accuracy tested a little bit. But as far as the leg to kick those 55 yarders, those 60 yarders, I believe he has it.
okay. Okay. I'm
Um,
with that. Oh, what
I,
you got, Vito?
I was pleased with K York. I was going to be really disappointed that we didn't sign a kicker before the season started. Special teams look horrible until K York was signed. Again, he made 2 field goals, not 20, but those 2 give me far more confidence than the previous 2 kickers before that. Tressway, again, has been doing a pretty damn good job in the preseason to assume that he's probably going to have one of his better seasons. I hope he doesn't. I hope he's last in the league in punting, which means our offense is probably first. But that's just me. But again, he's playing really well. Jeremy Reeves, I did not like his production at safety during the preseason, but everyone can work on something, and it goes to show that maybe Ron Rivera's uh, scheme may not have been, or Jack Del Rio's scheme may not have been that complicated. Maybe there's a little more to do in this one, and maybe he'll have to get adjusted to that. But he's a Pro Bowl special teams player, and we definitely need to have as many special teams guys that are willing to do that as possible. I'm happy on that front. I wish we could have upgraded our kick return, but Jameson Crowder, I believe, can get the job done. That seems to be a difficult spot to like really lock down in the NFL today. So any kids that are listening, or any parents that are listening, for the kids that want to play football, think about seeing if your kid wants to play return man. It's a difficult job, but it's a special job, and it takes a special guy to be able to do it at a high level.
I agree totally. I agree totally. I think I like Jamison Crowder at kick returner. Last year he almost ran one back, I believe, against Atlanta. So shout out to shout out to shout out to Jamison Crowder, because I do believe that he's ultimately going to be the returner, one way or the other. Or Pringle. They had Pringle last year. Maybe Pringle goes back there and takes the return. I want to see Crowder at punt returner though. I would love to see Crowder at punt returner. So, what do y'all think about the special teams coach? What do y'all think about the job he's done in special teams this year in the preseason?
Especially with signing the kicker, pretty good. It was good. It was going to be a horrible F until we signed K York.
I agree. I agree. I agree totally.
I
I
can give
agree
him,
totally.
yeah, I would give him an A for signing a late signing, and it seems like K York might be okay.
Yeah, I agree totally. So that I mean that's the full roster of what we got. You know, as far as what they signed, what they let go, who else got signed, where else they got signed. You know, we wanted to update the fans on everything we had going on. We'll do any little added. Y'all got anything to add before we move into final thoughts?
Nah, I think I'm good on that one.
I
Okay.
got something to add.
All right.
I think this is a pretty well put together roster. There's some question marks, definitely. It's definitely some question marks, but I think that this is a well put together roster, and especially with filling certain holes that we have had, I think we did a pretty decent job.
Okay. Okay.
I'd
Well,
have
let me add a little something. Y'all know what I'm gonna add. I think Josh heard some more. That's what I think. I think Jared, let me turn my camera. I think Josh heard some more, and I wouldn't trust it. Don't spin until they win. That's my motto. That's been my motto. That's what I've been said. Do not give these people no benefit of the doubt. Don't say, "Oh, it looked good." This is what we do every year. Every year. And every year we always say, man, we don't know what happened. It just kind of fell apart. So I would love for us as Redskin fans to hold something straight quick. You know, get them 4 games, see what you got. What if they go on 4? They go on 4 this year. Let's just say starting out the gate. They even might get better after the 0-4. But still, I mean, this is a possibility. Anything can happen, especially with this team. So let's hold something and let them win before we spin our lips and start talking about what we gonna do. And when we make the Super Bowl and Jaden Daniels, there's a lot of pressure on Jaden Daniels. It's a lot of pressure on Jaden Daniels. And you know, it works out sometimes it don't. We've had the number 2 overall pick before. We are acting like we haven't been down this road 2 times prior to this. 3 times if you want to count LeVar Arrington. And it's never panned out to do anything. We have to remember this, Redskin fans. You know. So we'll move into final thoughts, man. What y'all got on final thoughts?
So I can go first, man. So let me turn my camera on. So my final thought is that we are about 10 days away from the season, right? There will be some more roster moves made. So this ain't the end of it. You know, this is just the beginning. I think we got a very good 53-man roster, and I think that we are ready to evolve. I think we are ready to go to that next step. Um, but we're gonna take it one game at a time. And starting with one game at a time, that means we gotta run the ball, which I think we got 2 very good backs. Um, we got 2 tight ends that can help get those backs onto the edge. I think we have several skilled receivers. Like Terry is one of those go-to guys. We got Crowder that can do very well in the slot. We got, from what it seems like, Zacchaeus and Pringle will probably be explosive guys, you know? So I think that our offense is going to run very well, especially if that offensive line can continue to look the way that they did in the preseason. I think our defense is going to be the strength of our team. I really like what we got on defense. I can only really think of one position on defense that I'm a little concerned about. And I mean, that is the defensive coordinator's specialty. So hopefully, over these next 17 weeks of this season, that defensive, supposedly secondary guru pulls that secondary together and shows that these corners are worthy of being on this NFL franchise, because if those corners play well, I think this defense is probably one of the most dominant in the league. So this is point B. This is Workhorse Wednesday, and that was my final thought.
What you
I'm
got,
right.
Vito?
I'm saying Vito here, man. Final thought for the day: roster cuts was a little tough, but at the end of the day, we moving forward. At the end of the day, you got to look at two things. One, you got to look at is your team a team, and two, are you reaching with picking certain players, or are you reaching, is your roster incomplete? I think the new format is different for everybody. Some people are seasoned, some people are still trying to figure things out. With the new coaching staff, sometimes you can be sure of yourself, and then sometimes you can be scrambling. Right now, it looks like a scramble from the outside, but from the inside, maybe these guys want to be sure. So, for the sake of the matter, the fact that I think they've done probably about 75 to 80% of everything to my liking, with a few things that I question here and there. Overall, the team is still doing well and still being ran at least efficiently to my care outside of, like I said, a few things. It'll be interesting to see how this season turns out, but I am very, very excited that the next few weeks bring on the new 2024-2025 season. HTTR. This is Uptown Vito. Thanks for listening. Shout out, follow, subscribe, and keep on listening. It's Workhorse.
Workhorse. Um, uh,
Workhorse.
all right. So for me, after seeing the roster in full and seeing where it was at the end of last season, um, my grade is going to be a C plus right now. Now it can go up, it can go down. You know, it's a couple moves that I just felt like I wouldn't have made. I always opt for depth. That's me personally. So it's just a couple things I wouldn't have done. However, with what they have, I do think they have some pieces in which they could be successful, right? I predict a tank season only because of the owner. Just to be clear about that, it has nothing to do with the players or what I feel their ability is, because again, I like Jaden Daniels, I like Brian Robinson, I like Terry McLaurin, I like Jonathan Allen, Deron Payne, and Bobby Wagner, Frankie Louvu, and it's a decent roster. So this has nothing to do with them. I just don't like your owner and his Philadelphia self. I'm just saying. So that's my problem. And I'm not gonna let him outlive that 4-13. Until I see something else, we 4-13. Regardless of the moves we made, it don't count for no wins yet. Until they win. And so I just don't want us to get beside ourselves as a fan base. I want us to still demand the best, and don't say that we already got it because we got Adam Peters and these moves are being made. That's foolish. We do that every year, as I said earlier. So my final thought is look at the roster, look at what you have, wait for the wins. Wait for the wins. And I just wanted to so that's my final thought. This is ETA Row. You know what I'm saying? This is Workhorse Wednesday. Workhorse. And
Workhorse.
that's my final thought. Now, what I was about to say was we are live back, Twitter, 24 hours a day. We are back on. Just wanted to make sure that everybody got that. The Twitter page is up. Make sure you go follow us on Twitter. Make sure that you follow us on Facebook. If it's Facebook, whatever. On Facebook, wherever it's being posted from, you can send a DM or anything. If you need a page to follow, you need the actual pages to follow, we'll send them to you. Make sure that you're active because we're going to keep you abreast on everything Redskins. We are doing the games. So that's game one, the first game. We will have the advertisements come out soon. So keep your eyes open for that. Again, we back on Twitter. We are on YouTube as well. Studio Runners, make sure y'all go there, and I'm gonna pull the page up. Just make sure that y'all go there and follow on Studio Runners. I'll go ahead and pull the page up so y'all can get that there. So follow us on Studio Runners. Follow us on YouTube. Studio Runners YouTube. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, everywhere that you probably will get your platforms. You probably get your podcast. We're going to make sure we have some sort of presence there. Um, Let me see if I can find this YouTube so I can get them up for y'all. Yeah, we're gonna try to keep that. Have some sort of presence. Have some sort of presence on there. You know. Okay, I see it now. Yeah, we're gonna try to make sure we have some sort of presence on wherever you get your podcast, man. Y'all know what we do. Y'all know how we do it. Yeah, y'all know how we do it. This is the Nature Sports Podcast, and this is the. You can see us here at the bottom of the screen right here. Studio Runners. Make sure that y'all go and find that there. Studio Runners. Put Studio Runners channel into your YouTube. Let's do that now. That way we can go ahead and get you locked in there. Get you locked in there. I might be on my own page, so they might not let me see it because I am on the page right now. Yes. Well, no, they won't let me do it because I am on the page right now. So it's giving me all the other options. However, I can go home to the page so that you can see what it looks like. Let's get y'all locked in there. You know, again, we just trying to get you locked in there so you can keep abreast on what's going on.
For sure.
Here in Washington. There you go. You got the Studio Runners page right then and there. Studio Runners channel. So make sure that y'all with all the score the fights, Workhorse Wednesdays, Major Mondays. You know, we got everything on here. So make sure y'all come. Right now we're live. You would have gotten a notification that we were live if you were following us here on YouTube. So make sure that y'all do that there. And even y'all could put, I'm pretty sure you could put Workhorse Wednesday. You can search Workhorse Wednesday or Major Mondays or the Nature Sports DC to get either of those pages. I guess what we got point on the score to fight. Next score to fight.
Yeah. We will be back on Score to Fight. And let me just hold on real quick. Let me make sure I get my lighting correct here. So big announcement, man. Big announcement. There's been several fights that's being added to the Score the Fight card. All of them aren't done and official right now. But a big announcement here. Shakur Stevenson has a fight, and he's going to be on the same night. I'm not sure if it's in the same arena right now, but it's going to be on the same night as the Better Be Beagle, and that's going to be October 12th. I'm about to confirm his opponent. I don't want to get the guy's name wrong. But big news. So his name, he is going to fight Joe Cordina. I was about to mess it up. But yes, Joe Cordina will be his opponent for October 12th. Also, Keyshawn Davis has an opponent, Gustavo Limos, and that's going to be October 8th potentially. And Devin Haney in negotiations with Liam Paro right now. And so it looks like that's going to be a fight for that's what they're aiming for. And this is the news that everybody wanted to hear, but they didn't know they wanted to hear it. It looks like Tank Davis will be back in November. It looks like the date is set for November 11th. We do not know who his opponent will be yet, but Al Heyman has hinted at this will be the rollout. because Al Hammond is promoting the Canelo versus Berlanga fight. That's under the PBC champions. So right now, Tank looks like, get your popcorn ready, because you know what Tank is. Tank is explosiveness. Tank is, he that guy right now in boxing. So those are the updates for Score to Fight. Our next Score to Fight, I told you it's a special one. It will be September 3rd. It will be Nayoa Inoue versus TJ Dahani. I hope I'm saying his name right. I hope I'm not butchering it. But it's Inoue versus Dahani. That's going to be at 7 a.m. And that's going to be on September 3rd, live on Score to Fight. I hope you guys tune in. I know you guys gonna love watching this with us. We have a very good end of the year for you guys.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Everyday Parlay. It is returning this Friday. This Friday. Everyday Parlay will be returning. We will have the advertisements for that. So we'll get with Vito. I get with Vito. We'll go ahead and chop this down. Got a big week of college football coming up. So we'll do a nice little special for you guys on Everyday Parlay. Go through the games with you. Try to win you some money this weekend. Try to get you some coins this weekend. So that's Friday. This Friday coming up. We will have a special episode of Everyday Parlay and reintroduce it for this football, basketball, and baseball season, and hockey, college basketball, the whole works. We do it all on Everyday Parlay. So that will be returning this week. I know Big Son No Shade will be debuting soon. And I'm trying to get Vito to work something out with this Madden thing. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to convince him for the fans, because I know y'all love Madden too. So we can hopefully get y'all to participate as well in that. You know what I mean? So big things, man, on the Nature Sports Network, man. Y'all know what it is. Big things on Studio Runners, 25-hour TV. We ain't 24 hours, man. We working overtime. We 25 hours. You dig what I'm talking about? So to everybody out there, get home safely, drive safely, walk safely. If you're walking, whatever you're doing, just get where you're going, baby. See y'all this Friday for Everyday Parlay. And then next week, man, for the Redskins game, I know y'all pumped for the regular season, but any updates, we will make sure that we got those for you on Major Mondays and on Workhorse Wednesdays. See y'all next time.